Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we're on TryHackMe. This is the SOC Level 1 Legacy Path. This is the SOC Level 1 Capstone Challenges module. This is the Tempest room. You are tasked to conduct an investigation from a workstation affected by a full attack chain. Hopefully you all are ready to learn something today. And we're going to take a look at this room here. Okay, so task number 1 is the introduction. This room aims to introduce the process of analyzing endpoint and network logs from a compromised asset. Given the artifacts, we will aim to uncover the incident from the Tempest machine. In this scenario, you will be tasked to be one of the incident responders that will focus on handling and analyzing the captured artifacts of a compromised machine. Prerequisites before we start this room requires basic knowledge of endpoint and network security analysis. It's highly recommend you go through the following rooms before attempting this. So we have Windows event logs, Sysmon, Wireshark, packet operations, and Brim. So be sure to check out my channel for anything related to these rooms. I may have done a video over these. Here's how to start the machine here. You're going to click that green start machine button. Okay, up here, as you can see, I've already done it. And then some additional information. The machine takes a minute or two to initialize. You may start accessing it once the IP address has been provided. The machine will start split view. In case it's not visible, click the show split view button at the top. Lastly, you may use the following information if you want to access it via RDP, so use this right there. But we're done with this, and the machines should be good to go here. All right. Now, before we get into it, if you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 2, preparation, log analysis. Before we proceed, let's have a quick refresher regarding these topics, which may help build a methodology for analyzing captured events. We got log analysis and event correlation. Log analysis is the process of understanding events generated by a computer to identify anomalies such as security threats, application bugs, system performance, and other risks that may impact the organization. A log file is an audit trail of events or activities within the applications and systems of an organization. Logs automatically audit any activity configured, such as system messages, authentication attempts, and network traffic generated. In addition, every log entry is audited with a timestamp of when the event occurred, which deeply aids in an investigation. Event correlation identifies significant relationships from multiple log sources, such as application logs, endpoint logs, and network logs. Event correlation deals with identifying significant artifacts coexisting from different log sources and connecting each related artifact. For example, a network connection log may exist in various log sources, such as Sysmon logs, event ID 3, network connection, and firewall logs. Firewall logs may provide the source and destination IP, source and destination port, protocol, any action taken. In contrast, Sysmon logs may give the process that invoked the network connection and the user running the process. With this information, we can connect the dots of each artifact from the two data sources, source and destination IP, port, action taken, protocol, process name, user count, and machine name. Event correlation can build the puzzle pieces to complete the exact scenario from an investigation. So yeah, we're going to be looking at logs and then doing some event correlation probably inside of a SIM or something like that, I'm assuming. I've read and understood. Okay, so we're done with that here. Task number 3, preparation, tools and artifacts. In this task, we will prepare the artifacts and introduce the tools needed for the investigation. Compare by hash. Before conducting the investigation, one of the most important steps is to compare the artifacts by their hashes. It is a common practice to verify if the artifacts are as or expected as it is. You can get the hashes of each artifact by running PowerShell from the taskbar and executing the following commands. So they cd'd into this directory here, ls, to list the files in there, and then they ran get file hash, and then they're using the SHA-256 algorithm, and they're running it against this particular file here. Okay, so they didn't want us to follow along here, I'm assuming so let's go ahead and do that here. We're going to go ahead and do our old trusty copy and paste. All right, there we go. And then we're going to do this here. Let's get file hash inside of here. All right, and you can also run it against everything in here. So let's try something like this, see if this works. Oh, it does. Okay, sweet. So now we have all the hashes, all the files there, in case we need it. Toolset. The toolset needed for this task is focused on analyzing Sysmon logs, Windows event logs, and packet capture endpoint logs. To analyze Windows artifacts such as Windows event logs and Sysmon logs, we'll use the following tools. So we have event EC or E command, I guess, timeline explorer, Sysmon view, and event viewer. Network logs. To analyze the provided packet capture, we'll use the following tools. So we have Wireshark and we have Brim as well. You can access the tools listed above via the task bar. So we have everything down here that we need. Since some of the tools listed above, such as Wireshark, Brim, Event Viewer, are already covered by the prerequisite rooms, we will only cover the new ones in this section. So we have this Event X E command and Timeline Explorer. Eric Zimmerman has created a set of forensic tools used to analyze Windows artifacts called Easy Tools, Eric Zimmerman's tools. For this task, we'll focus on EVTX and Timeline Explorer, as these tools are mainly used for parsing and analyzing EVTX logs. EVTX is a command line tool which parses Windows event logs into different formats such as CSV, JSON, XML, etc. You may use this tool in conjunction with Timeline Explorer, created by the same author. Timeline Explorer is a GUI-based tool, which is graphical user interface that functions as a data filtering and navigating application to ease incident responders in handling raw data. To parse the provided logs, we first need to convert the EVTX logs into CSV using the EVTX E command, and then feed it into Timeline Explorer. Okay, sweet. So I assume we need to go into that particular area, right? So we need to cd into this, I guess this directory here. Alright, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab it here, and let's see if this will work. cd, paste that in there. Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and clear the screen. There's our tools there, it looks like. Yeah. And let's run everything here. So we're going to run that tool against this here. So incident files, the sysmon.evtx, and then we're going to convert that into that CSV file. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and do this here. Okay. It didn't say anything about being admin, did it? I don't think I saw that anywhere. But we should get some results like this here. Okay, so they got the same thing. But we should get similar results as this here. For Timeline Explorer.exe, we can load the exported CSV file by doing the following. So file open, choose the sysmon.csv from this location here, and we're going to put that inside of this tool. Alright, so it looks like it's done. And let's locate Timeline Explorer. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to load up here, but we will find out shortly. I know one of these different rooms, it was taking forever to load some of these tools and whatnot, so hopefully we don't have that issue here, but it looks like this loaded up just fine. So we got file open, and then now we're going to go to this PC, desktop incident files, and there we go here. Okay. Once the logs are loaded, you may navigate through each column and use the input field to filter specific logs via a unique string. So up here, I guess, no, down here, these fields here. Okay, so we're good to go there. Lastly, you may use the search feature in the upper right corner to find a unique string that may exist in any column. So up here, all right. Sysmon view is going to be the next one we're going to talk about here. All right, so once again, if we need to look up something here, click in there. And then also there's the search up here. All right, so we got that going. And next one's going to be that the Sysmon thing. There we go, Sysmon view. Sysmon view is a Windows GUI based tool that visualizes Sysmon logs. Before using this tool, we must export the log file's contents into XML via event viewer. Okay, interesting there. The machine will notify you once the file has successfully been exported. All right. Okay, so there appears to be multiple ways to convert this. First, we can use the tool we used earlier, which was this evtx ecommand.exe tool. So you'll have to modify some things here. The first one is going to be this --xml because that's the format it needs to be in. And then here at the end, put another --xmlf, right? And then sysmon.xml. Run that, and it should save it as an XML file. Now, the other way you can do is open this up inside Event Viewer, and then you can save all events as XML, right? I think that's what the instructions were trying to say here. So let's see here. Yeah. So once that's done, we should be good to go here. So once you save it as XML file, all right, and let's go ahead and do that here. We could just overwrite the other one that's in there. So let's go inside of here, desktop, into the files, Sysmon, save it, place yes, and okay. Well, that's great. Not sure what happened there. So we'll just leave that alone. And now we should be good to go there. So we already have Sysmon view pulled up here, so let's go to file, and then let's follow along here. File, import Sysmon event logs. Okay, now let's go ahead and find it. There it is. Let's see what this says. Go to file, import Sysmon event logs, then choose XML files generated using the event viewer. I don't think we had that option. Once loaded, the left sidebar has search functionality that can filter a specific process in mind. Choose the image path and session GUID to render the mapped view. All right. Let's just do this import and see what it does. Okay, so it's going a little bit slow, but once it loads up, we should get something like this here. All right. All right, sweet. And okay, so they just did Explorer as an example here. This tool can easily view the correlated events from a specific process. This example above shows all Sysmon events related to Explorer.exe. So if we were to do that as well, we'll just type it in here, or paste it. There we go. Click on it. All right. Not sure what this other stuff does, but we'll get the gist of it. Anyway, so we have some questions here that we can answer. What is the SHA-256 hash of capture.pcapng file? And we did that earlier, right? In the yeah, we probably should have copied those earlier, but let's just do it again. So I'm gonna up arrow, and let's just do it against all these. So this is the first one, it looks like here. Well, you can't even see it. So we'll just do this here. It's like cut off or something. So we'll just grab this last part here, the file extension. And, that's right, I need to change my directories back to what we had earlier. I am just going to do this. Open up a new one, and then we can just go back to what we did earlier with the SHA-256 stuff. So we'll cd into that directory and then run everything again. Okay, and then we can do this here, or we can throw it against all those as we saw earlier. So we already have this hash. Grab it, and we will plug it in as our answer. All right, so we need to get all these here apparently. And let's take a look here. LS, there's all of them there, so we will just do it the easy way. There. All right, so it should be in the same order as that, and we need to get this Sysmon one first. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 here. Grab that. And the next one, we need to get the Windows one, which was the last one. All right, so we'll plug this in, and we are finished with that. Task number 4, initial access malicious document. Tempest Incident. In this incident, you will act as an incident responder from an alert triaged by one of your Security Operations Center analysts. The analyst has confirmed that the alert has a critical severity that needs further investigation. As reported by the SOC analyst, the intrusion started from a malicious document. In addition, the analyst compiled the essential information generated by the alert as listed below. The malicious document has a .doc extension. The user downloaded the malicious document via chrome.exe. The malicious document then executed a chain of commands to attain code execution investigation guide. To aid with the investigation, you may refer to the cheat sheet crafted by the team applicable to the scenario. So start with the events generated by Sysmon. We have the event E command, timeline explorer, and Sysmon view can interpret Sysmon logs, follow the child processes of winware.exe, use filters such as parent process ID or process ID to correlate the relationship of each process. We can focus on Sysmon events such as process creation, event ID 1, and DNS queries, event ID 22, to correlate the activity generated by the malicious document. Significant data sources, Sysmon suite. So I have various different questions here that need to be answered. So go ahead and try it out yourself, then come back to the video and we'll step through it together. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. Let's take a look at these questions. The user of this machine was compromised by a malicious document. What is the file name of the document? So we're referencing a document. All right, so we can go in and just search on that. So up here at the top right, type in .doc. Right, so we're in Timeline Explorer, by the way. Hit find, and right off the bat, you see something come up here, right? Different .doc files referenced here, but you can see this one is of interest, is free. Macules or whatever .doc is going to be the one of interest here, and you can also see in the past Benny Maru is going to be the user located in the downloads folder. Okay, so we have that answer there for that one, and they use Chrome to download this, it looks like. And by the way, you can go in and double click this entry here to pull it up. But yeah, this one is the one that sticks out here, so just go ahead and copy that over, plug it in as our answer. Next one, they want this compromised user machine in this format here for some reason, but we already know the user is going to be Benny Maru or whatever. And to get the machine name, we'll be able to find this in here. So we can go in, and it's going to be in one of these columns, if I'm not mistaken, here. So you can also just search on this particular user as well. So now it'll pull up everything referencing that particular user here. All right, so let's click here. All right, so we know it's opened with one word, and to get that the machine name on here, we can see that's mentioned several times over here in this payload data 3, source host name, Tempest. So that's the one I went with. And also you can see in these logs that query name phishTeam.xyz is of interest as well. So as you're sifting through these logs, you'll see some other things that are of interest that you probably need to track down. Okay, so we know the machine is going to be this Tempest, just judging by that it's mentioned several times, and also it's saying that it's the source host name for that one. And it looks like that is the machine that this Ben Maru guy or person is on. So that's what I went with for that one. Next one says, what is the PID of the Microsoft Word process that opened the malicious document? So once again, it's going to be one of those one of these columns here. So if we go in, and you can type in the .doc again to pull those results up again. And you can also just search on this here. Okay. So we're going to clear all this out. And you can search on this particular file here. All right, so in one of these columns here is going to mention the process IDs and whatnot. There we go. Right here, you can see process ID 496 is mentioned there. And that's going to be the one that we're looking for. And also under username, you can see Tempest, Benny Maru or whatever. So for that last one, you can look at it and get it that way as well. But we can see that this is what's the one that we're looking for. So process creation. Okay. And also had mentioned this process ID 496 for this particular one here. So that's the one I went with. And then we can also see additional details here as we're looking through payload data and whatnot. You can see here when word.exe is mentioned as well, and then once again you can see process ID 496 mentioned. Okay, so that's what I went with. Next one, based on Sysmon logs, what is the IPv4 address resolved by the malicious domain used in the previous question? Well, we know we saw that XYZ domain earlier, right? The fish team, I think that's what it's called, fish team. Now if you go up here and just type in the domain here, phishTeam.xyz, it'll pull up information related to that, and you can see this particular external IP mentioned several times, right? So you can go ahead and take it, grab it, and you can put this inside of some kind of OSINT tool like VirusTotal or something like that. And well, you can look at the domain too, right? But I'm gonna grab the IP here. Okay, let's try this again. Copy. Plug this in and see if there's any hits on it. You can see it's been flagged a couple of times, but you get the gist of it. You can see that you can do OSINT on whatever artifacts you find in here to determine if they're malicious or not, or to gather some information about that. But this IP is mentioned several times here, and as you're going through the logs, you can see that it goes into this phishTeam.xyz as well. That's referenced. So that's the one I went with for this one. Okay, so this .191 is going to be our answer there. Next one, what is the base64 encoded string in a malicious payload executed by the document? So once again, you're going to be sifting through these columns, and you can try to figure out where that is, or you can just go up here and type in base64, see if anything comes up. And you got one entry here, so you have to find the correct column that's of interest here, and we can see that this one has a lot of stuff in it, this executable info column. So double click that, and you can see all kinds of funky stuff inside of here, invoke expression, yada yada yada. You can see some stuff that looks like base64 encoded. You can see some other things in here as well, right? So you're going to grab that base64 encoded string here, right? So go ahead, copy that, and then you're going to plug it in here as our answer. You can also throw this inside of a CyberChef here to figure out what it comes out to for the output. The phishTeam.xyz is mentioned as well, but you can see some other things of interest. So plug that in as our answer for the base64 encoded string. Next one, what is the CD number of the exploit used by the attacker? So for this one, you'll have to do some Googling, or you can use like a ChatGPT or something like that. So basically you can go in and grab a piece of this here, like this here, and you can just copy that and paste it inside of a Google or ChatGPT or something like that. I put this inside of ChatGPT, and it came back with this CV here, Folina or whatever. So it came back as that, and that's how I got that answer there. So we're done with that. Task 5, initial access, stage 2 execution, malicious document stage 2. Based on initial findings, we discovered that there is a stage 2 execution. The document has successfully executed an encoded base64 command. Decoding this string reveals the exact command chain executed by the malicious document. Investigation guide. With the following discoveries, we may refer again to the cheat sheet to continue with the investigation. The auto start execution reflects Explorer.exe as its parent process ID. Job processes of Explorer.exe within the event timeframe could be significant. Process creation event ID 1 and file creation event ID 11 succeeding the document execution are worth checking. Okay, Sysmon for the data sources, of course. All right, so once again, I've got some questions here, so go ahead and try to answer those yourself. Come back to the video and we'll go through it together. The malicious execution of the payload wrote a file on the system. What is the full target path of the payload? Now for this one, you can reference what we already saw inside of CyberChef here when we decoded the base64 stuff, right? So you can take this portion here, or $app, all the way to startup here, and you can plug that into like ChatGPT, as you can see I done here, and you can see the full path, username, app data, yada yada yada. So just grab that and replace the username with the correct username, which is going to be Benimaru. So that's going to be our answer there. Next one, the implanted payload executes once the user logs into the machine. What is the executed command upon a successful login of the compromised user? So for this one, I pivoted off of this fish team.xyz, right? Hit find, and I'm looking at executable info here. You can see all kinds of interesting things, right? And right off the bat, you can see that once it communicates to that particular domain here, it's got this file here called first.exe. So this is of interest as well. It said we need to get the entire domain or command here. So just open this up and just copy and paste it over and just take out the double quotes here. So I'm pretty sure it's this one here. If it's not this one, it's the other one inside of here. So I'm just going to Control F here. All right, so it's got to be this other one here. So this is the full one that they're looking for. So just grab this entire thing here, right, and then get rid of those double quotes, and we should be good to go here. I'm just showing you as a reference here. That's the one that we need. Okay, so that's the one we're going to be using for that. And the next one here is looking for the SHA-256 hash downloaded for stage 2's execution. Once again, you're going to reference this first.exe. So an executable info. This one's a little bit tricky because it references it quite a bit. You can even search on it. But anyway, we can see right here the next entry. So just scroll over until you get to the area that has that SHA-256 information here. So double click that, and then you're going to grab it out of here. Like I said, this one's a little bit tricky because it references that file multiple times inside of there. I mean, if you try it yourself, you'll see. The last one here, the stage 2 payload downloaded establishes a connection to a C2 server. What is domain and the port used by the attacker? And I believe we saw this earlier briefly as we were looking at other things inside of here. So we're going to have to look for that other domain of interest. So I was going in here, I believe I pivoted off of that first.exe. So let's try that real quick and see what comes up. And right off the bat, you can see that it's communicating to this domain here, this resolve cyber.xyz. Okay, so go ahead and grab that as the first part of it, and we also need to get the port, which I don't know if you can find that information inside of here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. But anyway, so you can fire up Wireshark here, and then you can go in and just open up the packet capture, right? Once that's loaded up here, you can search on destination, so ip.dest equals the IP of interest that we found earlier. Okay, put that in there, and you can see that's communicating to port 80 right as we're going through here. So that's going to be our second part for that, right? So resolve cyber.xyz and then :80 for the port. So that's going to be our answer there, because we already know that it's connected, the IP is connected to that domain, vice versa or whatever. So you can also use Brem. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have other tools in here like Brem, and they have this other one here, that Sysmon view, which I haven't used very much. Okay, so just use whatever tool works best for you, and then you should be good to go there. But we are done with that part. Task number 6 here, initial access, malicious document traffic. Based on the collective findings, we discovered that the attacker fetched the stage 2 payload remotely. We discovered the domain and IP invoked by the malicious document on Sysmon logs. There's another domain and IP used by the stage 2 payload logged from the same data source. Investigation guide. Since we have discovered network-related artifacts, we may again refer to our cheat sheet, which focuses on network log analysis. We can now use Brem and Wireshark to investigate the packet capture. Find network events related to the harvested domains and IP addresses. Sample Brem filter you can use for this investigation. Okay, I'm just going to grab it, get it ready to go here. Data sources packet capture. So we're going to using that packet capture looks like to answer these questions here. So go ahead and pause the video and try to do that yourself, then come back and we'll step through it together. Just to backtrack a little bit on this one here. Once again, to get this answer right, you'll need to go in and then you'll do a search on this first.exe, and you can see this IP address here mentioned quite a bit, this .162 IP. All right, so once you have that information, you can also see that resolve cyber.xyz is mentioned as well. So those appear to be related, right, as we can see here from this particular line. And you can also take this IP here, right, like, and you can put it into Wireshark as you're looking through the packet information and whatnot. All right, so for looking in here, you can do the destination there for the IP. So we'll just say that it wasn't there, so we'll paste it in there, hit enter. Now you have the results back here. Okay, going to port 80, and that's how we got that one. Now let's continue on to the next portion here, get these answers. The first one up is, what is the URL of the malicious payload embedded in the document? Now this one's a little bit confusing because they said document, but it's an index.html file. Anyway, so we have Brem pulled up here, and we're looking at this particular malicious domain first, this fish team. So once you do a search on that, you can even do get in here if you want to filter it down even more. So type in get, right, because it's going to be retrieving something, right, from the server. So anyway, as you're sifting through here, you'll come across this the doc file that was malicious, and then above that you'll see these HTML files mentioned here. So that's where we're going to grab here, and also under user agent you can see Microsoft Office and stuff is mentioned. So anyway, so you can even double click it, open up some additional details here, and then we'll go and grab that information and plug it in as our answer there for that one. So make sure you build out the entire URL you're looking for here. So we already know that it's looking at this domain, and then these additional details here for the URL. So you can see inside of here your URI, right, and then host, and then HTTP up here. So there we go for that. Next one, what is the encoding used by the attacker on the C2 connection? So for this one, we will have to change the domain to the other one, which was that this one here, this resolve cyber.xyz. So I can even take out this method here. All right, so now we have all our information here, and now we need to find out what encoding they're using. So what you can do is scroll over to the right a little bit here, and for URI we can see some weird looking stuff here. So double click on one of these entries here, and then inside of here we'll see that the URI is mentioned. Okay, so you can just go ahead and grab this particular information here, and you can plug that into Cyber Chef. So we'll get rid of all this, we don't need it anymore, and it didn't grab it. So let's try this again. All right, now we'll have to get rid of some of this up here, but we will keep this as a reference for later. And okay, that was weird. It didn't grab everything there, but anyway, here we go. So now we can see even some commands are being ran here. It looks like here, net local group administrators, etc, etc, etc. So anyway, so that's the base 64 encoded one, and that's going to be our answer there for base 64 because obviously it decoded it. Next one here, the malicious C2 binary sends a payload using a parameter that contains the executed command results. What is the parameter in or used by the binary? Well, we already saw that in there, right? So we saw that the q equals from earlier. So if we plug that in there, we can see that's the portion we're looking for. It's q equals. All right, and that brings up to the next one, which is going to be the /9 yada yada yada. The malicious C2 binary connects to a specific URL to get the command to be executed. What is the URL used by the binary? Well, we already saw that. So you can see it mentioned multiple times inside of here. It's doing all kinds of things, right? So those are answers for those two, and we know that the HTTP method is going to be get request, and we can see that here under method. So there's that one. And the last one, based on the user agent, what programming language was used by the attacker to compile the binary? So for this one, you can get it via Wireshark as well, but if you scroll over to the right, you can see user agent, and you can see NIM being mentioned. If you just do a Google search on NIM, you can see that's a programming language. So just go ahead and grab that as our answer there. Okay, so we are done. And also, just to make things a little bit more easier to read here, I'm not sure what happened there. We can just take this here and get rid of that, plug it in there. All right, and this is what it would look like, right? So it looks something like this, but we get the gist of it. Next one here is going to be task number 7, and let's see what they say. Discovery, internal reconnaissance. Based on the collected findings, we have discovered that the malicious binary continuously uses the C2 traffic, right? We can easily decode the encoded string in the network traffic. The traffic contains the command and output executed by the attacker. Investigation guide. To continue with the investigation, we may focus on the following information: find network and process events connecting to the malicious domain. Find network events that contain an encoded command. We can use BREM to filter all packets containing the encoded string. Look for endpoint enumeration commands since the attacker is already inside the machine. In addition, we may refer to our cheat sheet for BREM to quickly investigate the encoded traffic with the following filters. To get all HTTP requests related to the malicious C2, there's our query here that we can use. All right, data sources, packet capture, and Sysmon. So once again, go ahead and pause the video and try to answer these questions yourself, then come back to the video and we will continue on. The attacker was able to discover a sensitive file inside the machine of the user. What is the password discovered on the aforementioned file? Alright, so for this one, you'll have to open up BREM, and you're going to use that little query they gave us earlier, okay, and just replace the placeholders with the correct information here. You can see here I have the solver cyber.xyz. I have port 80 there for the port because this was the one in question that we were looking for earlier. So anyway, so once you have that information in there, just hit enter or the search icon here. Now you'll see that there's a lot of base 64 encoded stuff here. So you'll have to sift through these probably individually, and you'll have to go through and remove the first part here. So from this / all the way to this q equals, right? Get rid of that, and you're gonna plug it into something like CyberChef and go in and just decode it. So this is an example here, right? So you can see the actual commands and stuff that's being ran. So once you have everything decoded, right? I just made this little note section here of what we need. All right. One in question here for this password one is this one here that starts with Y2F0 yada yada yada. So once that one has been decoded, you can see here that they're using cat, and they're using this looks like a PowerShell script here. There's the user Benu Maru. There's the password here for that. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and grab that password, plug it in as our answer there. Next one, the attacker then enumerated the list of listening ports inside the machine. What is the listening port that could provide a remote shell inside the machine? All right, so once again, as you're shifting through these base 64 encoded commands and whatnot, you'll come across this, okay? And also be sure you have the correct thing pulled up here inside of BREM. So we're using this capture.pcap ng. You can probably also use Wireshark to find these answers as well, but I'm using Brim. So once you have the stuff decoded, once again, I'm going to check my notes here, and you'll come across the one in question that we're looking for. And let me see if I can find it real quick. I had so many in here. It's going to be like a netstat command that I'm looking for here. I'm not sure if I think this is the one I was having issues with getting out of here. Yes, this is one that wouldn't let me copy out of here for some reason. So I basically made a notepad here, grabbed that particular item, posted in here, and then I just did, you know, ChatGPT or Google search to develop this little script here for PowerShell to decode base64. So anyway, so I plugged in the base64 stuff here, as you can see there, and then I ran this, and you can see it's in readable format now. So anyway, as you're going through here, you can see that they're using netstat-ANO-P, and they're looking for TCP ports, it looks like here. And as you're sifting through this information here, you will come across this port here, this 5985, which is used by WinRM, right? So now if you are able to copy this, you can paste this into like ChatGPT or something to help you out with this. So you can say something like, what's the most likely port that a attacker would use for, you know, remote shell or remote connection or whatever, and it'll go through and tell you information about each individual ports. So an example would be this here, right? So let me go back to my little thing here. Yes, what is port 5985, and could this be used by an attacker for reverse shell? So this is ChatGPT, and it gives you an explanation there. It's used by Windows Remote Management, WinRM, or HTTP, and yes, actually can be used by an attacker. So this is the one I went through, and it gives you a little breakdown as well of some other things here. All right, so yeah, so that's the one I went with, and also that'll be our answer there. So 5985. This will take some outside research here, and this is what happens in the real world as well. If you see something that you're unfamiliar with, you're gonna have to do some OSINT, use these fancy AI chatbots, or just Google search and figure out some more information about it. So let's move on to the next one. The attacker then established a reverse SOC proxy to access the internal services hosted inside the machine. What is the command executed by the attacker to establish the connection? Remove the quotes, right? Now, I believe we saw this earlier as well whenever we were looking at the timeline thing, whatever it's called here. Yes, this here, Timeline Explorer. Okay, so to find this one, it had mentioned SOCs, right? Yeah, SOCs proxy. So you can just go in and just, you know, try to find that SOCs. You can use find over here, or if you're looking at the logs as a whole, you can go through and you can see that information as well. So let me scroll over a little bit here. You can see that right here. And they're using the ch.exe client, and you see the .191 port 8080 are SOCs. Okay, so we have that information, right? And we're gonna plug that in as our answer there. Next one, what is the SHA-256 hash of the binary used by the attacker to establish the reversed proxy connection? So once again, as you're going through here, you can grab that information out of one of these payloads columns here, payload data 3, I believe. I believe it was this one here. I'm not sure. So we can go ahead and just grab this here, and I'm just going to hit Control F to make sure this is the right one. Yes, it is. Okay. So now we have that correct hash of that file in question here, right? That ch.exe. You can also plug this into VirusTotal. All right. As you can see, I've already done this, and it gives you some more details on that particular file in question, or the hash for it, right? And once you have that, you can see different kinds of names and such. So if you go to details here, you can see additional names, what it's called, and I'll bring to one of the other questions here and answers. So Chisel is going to be our next answer for that one. All right, so plug in that hash there, and then Chisel is going to be the next one here. It says, what is the name of the tool used by attacker based on the SHA-256 hash? Please provide the answer in lowercase. Chisel is a well-known tool out there that's used for like lateral movement and whatnot. You'll probably come across it in your career, whether you're doing like CTFs, exams, or maybe even in the real world. So just keep that in mind. Next one, the attacker then used the harvested credentials from the machine based on the succeeding process after execution of the SOC's proxy. What service did the attacker use to authenticate? Well, I mean, we had mentioned WinRM earlier, right, with this port 5985. So, I mean, you can infer that, well, they're going to use WinRM, right? If you did not know that, you can go back to the logs once again. So you're looking for the executable information here, and just basically scroll down, and then you'll go to one of interest. You can also filter this out, but I'm just showing y'all here. a quick way to do this. So the next one up is going to be this here. So you can take this, you can throw it into ChatGPT like I did. So let me scroll down here, and it says, what is this? And it says, is a legitimate Windows system process, yada yada, high value indicator of WinRM, PowerShell remoting activity, and it gives you some more additional details there. So you're seeing what we're doing here. We're gathering this information, the IOCs and whatnot, and we're plugging them into like OSINT tools or these AI tools to give us some more details about that as we carry out our investigation. You can also just filter out the information with Benu Maru here. There's faster ways to do this. So if you just want to see information for this particular user that's been compromised, you can see other details and whatnot here. Okay, and you can even see the SOC's information there, right? And you can see who am I stuff. They're trying to look at, they're doing reconnaissance, and they're also checking permissions, right? Who am I? In this /priv, they're looking for privileges. They're saying if this is what all can this user do? Do I need to elevate privileges or what? So anyway, you get the gist of it. And you can also see the ANA stuff here, or ANO stuff here for NetStats. You can see a lot of good information there. I don't like this jumping around stuff as we go through this room. I like just looking at the logs here and just doing it my way, but we're following along with this room. But anyway, so there's some other details here, local group administrators and everything like that. But use whatever works for you. Okay, and you saw how I did it, connecting the dots together and whatnot. So let's go on to the next one here. Task number 8. You can also use these hints, okay? If you get stuck, external research needed. And I think this one says a similar thing here. External research needed. But use the process name to determine the service name. So there you go there. Task number 8 here, we're going to talk about privilege escalation, exploiting privileges. Based on the collective findings, the attacker gained a stable shell through a reverse SOC proxy. Yes, investigation guide. With this in mind, we can focus on the following network and endpoint events. Look for events executed after the successful execution of the reverse SOC proxy tool. Look for the potential privilege escalation attempts, as the attacker has already established a privilege or persistent low privilege access, significant data sources, packet capture, and Sysmon. Well, I mean, we saw the who am I stuff in here, right? And we could probably pivot off that information and go from there. But anyway, we have some questions here, and y'all know what to do. Go ahead and try to answer them yourselves. Pause the video. Once you're done, come back to the video, and then we'll step through it together. Good luck. All right, before we move on, just to backtrack a little bit here, another way that you can get this last one here is that after looking for chisel or that ch.exe, right, you can hit the X here, and then just scroll down, and you'll get some you'll find an interesting result inside of executable information here. So the next command that was ran inside of here, right? So that's the ch.exe, and we're going to scroll down, keep scrolling, and then we will see this pop up here, right? So that's another way of getting it, and just doing some Google searching on that. But anyway, let's go ahead and continue on to task number 8. After discovering the privileges of the current user, the attacker then downloaded another binary to be used for privilege escalation. What is the name of the SHA-256 hash of the binary? So once again, we're going to be looking for another binary. So once again, you can scroll down and try to find that out just going through. So you can see the privilege escalation here, or the reconnaissance. They're looking for privileges of that user, right? So we're getting close here with that who am I. Keep scrolling down, and there's the logon stuff there, and we can see this file after that here called spf.exe, and it's coming from that malicious domain. So this is highly suspicious, right? So once again, you can pivot off of this information here. So we know that it's going to be using that file there, or that's the one in question, right? So we're going to type in spf.exe, hit find for it, and now we have the information for that pulled up here. Now to get this hash for it, you're going to have to look into this row here. I believe it's this one, right? So you can pivot off this information as well, this WSPR yada yada yada. You can put that in as fine, and it'll pull up that information as well. But anyway, so we already have it here, and I believe it's going to be this one, if I'm not mistaken here. So let's scroll over here, and we can see payload data 3, the hash values of interest, and okay, I'm trying to find the correct one in here. Yeah, so let's check this again. It's going to be the 185. Some of these are kind of tricky because it'll pull up different processes and whatnot. So it's going to be this one here. So we're going to go ahead and just grab this, and to double check it, we can just scroll over here, and you can see under executable information that send downloads spf.exe, so that's going to be what we are. And it looks like there's something else going on here too with this final.exe, so that could be of interest as well. But anyway, so we're going to plug that in as our answer. So just to double check there, spf.exe, and then there's the hash. And then you can also throw the hash inside of virus total here to get some additional details, right, which is going to lead on to the next questions. It says print spoofer 64.exe, so that's highly interesting there. And let's go down to the next question here. Based on the SHA-256 hash of the binary, what is the name of the tool used? And they only need print spoofer there. So we already have that one. Next one, the tool exploits a specific privilege owned by the user. What is the name of the privilege? So you just do some Googling of this particular tool, or you just use like ChatGPT or something like that, and that's exactly what I did. Throw it into ChatGPT, and if I scroll down here, you can see what it says. Which privilege is used by print spoofer 64.exe? And it says it uses or abuses the SE impersonate privilege. So that's the one I used. Throw it in there, done. And there's probably like a GitHub page or something as well for this that you can just look up. So either way, you'll get the correct answer there. One here, and then the attacker executed the tool with the binary to establish a C2 connection. What's the name of the binary? Well, we saw the other one in there, which is final.exe. So that's the other one that was of interest in here, right? This final.exe file here. And let's see here. Right, so now that we have that, you can pivot off that information. So final.exe to pull up those details for it and see what's cooking here. All right, so we can see here there's the PowerShell for it, spf.exe, final.exe, and then looks like it ran that, and they established that foothold here. So if we scroll over a little bit more, payload data 6, you can see this .162 address is listed as well. So you can pivot off that information to get that as well. So you can use that in like Brim or like Wireshark or something like that. Okay, so we're done with that. And you can obviously see that it's like communicating back and forth with that. You can see all these additional details here, right? It's even doing some other commands, it looks like here. All right, so we're done with that one. Next one, the binary connects to a different port from the first C2 connection. What is the port used? Well, earlier we saw that there's different ports listed, like port 80 was one of them and port 8080 was the other one, right? So you can just pivot off that information inside of here. So you can use that domain in question here, this resolve cyber.xyz, and take out that port information and just use it as this, and you can see that port 8080 is the other one mentioned. So that's one way of getting it. You can probably do it with Wireshark as well as you're sifting through those packets. So I mean, you should be able to get to Wireshark because it's using the same packet capture, right? So anyway, I think you can get it through here as well, if I'm not mistaken. And so you'll just have to do some digging around in here and see if you can find it inside of here. But you can see that's obviously communicating it. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The SOCs from earlier, right? So we'll type in SOCs here, and you can see that the ch.exe is used, and you can see first.exe is mentioned as well. So this is another way of getting it, right? So it's communicating with that .191 IP, or that's the client, right? Or client's going to this .191 IP on port 8080 in this reverse SOCs. Okay, so that's going to be our answer for that one. So there's different ways of getting this. Just make sure that you know that it's going to be connecting to that C2 machine that the attacker controls here, and you're pivoting off different information to get this particular answer here. So there's different ways of getting it. Next one here is task number 9, actions on objective fully owned machine. Now that the attacker has gained administrative privileges inside the machine, find all persistent techniques used by the attacker. In addition, the unusual executions are related to the malicious C2 binary and binary used during the privilege escalation. Investigation guide. Now we can rely on our cheat sheet to investigate events after a successful privilege escalation. Use Brim to filter on all HTTP requests related to the C2 traffic. So you can use that here with this query. The attacker gains system privileges. Now the user context for each malicious malicious execution blends with the NT authority system. Okay, so that's something else to consider there. All child events of the new malicious binary used for C2 are worth checking. Okay, data sources, packet capture, Sysmon, and Windows event logs. So once again, pause the video, try to answer these questions yourself, then come back to the video and we'll step through it together. All right, just a quick reference to the previous task. We saw the other IP address that was mentioned as well, this .162. So you can plug this inside of Wireshark here and do some digging around. You can see that port 8080 is mentioned as well. But like I said, you can find it with Brim. Okay, so you can search on IP, or you can just search on the C2 or the domain, right, to get the other port information and whatnot. But anyway, so let's continue on here. First question here: upon achieving system access, the attacker then created 2 users. What are the account names? We saw something like this earlier. All right, so if we go back to the timeline thing here, you could either sift through, scroll down here to find that particular information. So it's talking about user stuff here, local group administrators. It mentions that bin person, and then keep scrolling down, and you'll come across those 2 accounts in question here. You can also try to do just something like, let's try add, see if anything comes up here. There we go. So you see Shuna and Cheyenne appear to be added to the system here, and then it says Cheyenne trying to get added to this local administrators group here as well. So plug those 2 out in as our answer, Cheyenne and Shuna. Next one here says, prior to the successful creation of the accounts, the attacker executed commands that failed in the creation attempt. What is the mission option that made the attempt fail? And if they're trying to add stuff to the that particular area, I mean, they're going to use that /add as we saw here, right? So if that's not there, then it's not going to work. So you can see that as well if it's missing this criteria here. So let's just see if we can just get rid of this here and see what comes up here. So let's do /add find. Okay, now let's get rid of this. Let's just click on one of them here. But as you're going through here, you'll see that they're going to try to add something and they're missing that particular option to do it. So that's going to be our answer for that one. Okay, and I'm trying to remember which one it was that was missing in here. I'll probably come back to it later or something and see. Next one, based on Windows event logs, the accounts were successfully created. What is the event ID that indicates the account creation activity? So I just threw this into ChatGPT and then it gave me the answer here. You can do some Googling as well, but it'll tell you what it is, event ID 4720 for that one. Okay, and then when you get the next one here, the attacker added one of the accounts in the local administrators group. What is the command used by the attacker? And I believe we already saw that earlier, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see here if we can find it real quick. If not, we'll probably have to do some filtering or something like that. There we go. So let's see here. Okay, let's see. Okay, so we're looking for the command for the administrators group. It's got to be one of these here, and it's probably going to be, let's see. We saw that earlier. It said local admins or something. So I'm just trying to see if we can easily find it through this. I'm not sure if I scroll past it, but anyway. So let's do this. Let's do local admins just to make it easier. See if anything comes up here. How about just local? Okay, well, let's do administrators then, or admin. All right, there we go. So local group administrators, and all right, for this one, what they're looking for is going to be this here, where they're adding this user Cheyenne to the local administrators group. So you just click on one of these and just copy this over. All right, copy that over, plug it in as our answer there, and this will automatically fill in this net part of it. But I mean, that's how you add it. This is the full command for it, just as an FYI. You can see net.exe is mentioned there But anyway, if you plug this part in here, it'll fill in the rest of it, this net part. Based on Windows event logs, the account was successfully added to a sensitive group. What is the event ID that indicates the addition to a sensitive group? That's going to be 4732. You just do a Google search, or you can just use something like ChatGPT here, right? Just plugged it in. What is the event ID that indicates the addition to a sensitive local group? Event ID 4732. That's our answer there. Next one here. After the account creation, the attacker executed a technique to establish persistent administrative access. What is the command executed by the attacker to achieve this? Remove the double quotes. All right, so for this one, you can go in and just basically just scroll up or down depending on where you're at. Okay, so we can see this information here. This is where we left off, and if we just scroll up a little bit more here, you can see other things that are being done. So there, it looks like they're setting up some kind of scheduled task here, this Tempest update 2, and you keep scrolling up here, you can see the rest of it right here is, I believe this is what they are looking for. So we're going to go ahead and just grab all this here, right? If it lets me grab that, and then we're going to plug it in as our answer. Okay, whatever. And I need to remove these double quotes because I forgot, but all right, it took it anyway. Awesome. So that was quite a large room here, and quite a lot of things to take into consideration, a lot of things to look around on, and we saw that we had to pivot off of various different information inside of here. All right, so let's go. It doesn't let me go back here. That's interesting, but yeah, that wraps up this room. If you enjoyed the video, found it of value, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Be sure to check the description box of the video to see if there's any additional resources that can help you in your career. But I did like this room. The only thing is I didn't like jumping around which different directions as we're following along in this room, but I understand that it's just giving you like kind of like a template approach to investigating, but I prefer to look through the logs chronologically and just go from there, right? So for example, whenever it had established like the C2 connection, I would just scroll up or down based on that, and then see if there's anything else interesting to look for there. Also, I would do this in like a sim if possible. I'm assuming that's what Brim was for. You can look around in Brim if you know how to use that tool or whatnot, but I'm used to using like Splunk and other tools out there. But anyway, use what works for you, and have a nice day, and I will see you later. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos. You can see here over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are in TryHackMe. This is the SOC Level 1 Legacy Path. This is the SOC Level 1 Capstone Challenges module, and this is the Boogeyman 1 room. A new threat actor emerges from the wild using the name Boogeyman. Are you afraid of the Boogeyman? Well, let's see if we are. Alright, task number 1, introduction, new threat in town, uncover the secrets of the new emerging threat, the Boogeyman. Be sure to press the green start machine button here. In this room, you will be tasked to analyze the tactics, techniques, and procedures TTPs executed by a threat group from obtaining initial access until achieving its objective. Prerequisites. This room may require the combined knowledge gained from the SOC 1 Level 1 path. We recommend going through the following rooms for attempting this challenge. So we got phishing analysis fundamentals, phishing analysis tools, Windows event logs, Wireshark traffic analysis, and T-Shark the basics. So you can check out my channel for any rooms that I may have done related to these. Investigation platform. Before proceed, deploy the attached machine, click on start machine button, wait 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, we already done that. You can see it's in the split view artifacts. For the investigation proper, you will be provided with the following artifacts. So we have a copy of the phishing email, dump.exe .eml, so I'm assuming it's going to be inside for this here. PowerShell logs from Julianne's workstation, PowerShell.json, okay? And we have the packet capture from the same workstation, capture.pcap.ng. Note, the PowerShell.json file contains JSON formatted PowerShell logs extracted from its original EVTX file via the EVTX to JSON tool. So that's Windows event logs, and they got converted to this JSON format, looks like. You may find these files in Home, Ubuntu, Desktop Artifacts, which we see there. Tools. VidaVM contains the following tools at your disposal. So you have Thunderbird, and we have Link, Parse 3, Wireshark, Tshark, and GQ. To effectively parse and analyze the provided artifacts, you may also utilize built-in command line tools such as grep, set, awk, and base64. Sweet. Now, let's start hunting the Boogeyman. Sweet, but before we dive into it, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel if you want to help support the channel. Without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 2, email analysis. Look at the headers. The Boogeyman is here. Julianne, a finance employee working for Quick Logistics LLC, received a follow-up email regarding an unpaid invoice from their business partner, B Packaging Inc. Unbeknownst to her, the attached document was malicious and compromised her workstation. So you got something here. Hi, Julianne. Hope you're well. I just wanted to drop you a quick note to remind you in respect to document, blah, 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 is due for payment on January 20th, 2023. I would be grateful if you could confirm everything is on track for the payment. For additional information, kindly see the attached document. You may see this code to view the encrypted file. Best regards, Arthur Griffin, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and this is something you may see in the real world as well, as you get these phony invoice phishing emails that come in. The security team was able to flag the suspicious execution of the attachment in addition to phishing reports received from the other finance department employees, making it seem to be a target attack on the finance team. Upon checking the latest trends, the initial TTP used for the malicious attachment is attributed to the new threat group named Boogeyman, known for targeting the logistics sector. You are tasked to analyze and assess the impact of the compromise. Now, if you know a little something about the threat actor, you can look this up inside of like MITRE ATT&CK or something like that to try to gather some more additional details on that particular threat actor. Investigation guide. Given the initial information, we know that the compromise started with a phishing email. Let's start with analyzing the dump.eml file located in the artifacts directory. There are two ways to analyze the headers and rebuild the attachment. So as you see, I have it pulled up here inside of Thunderbird. All right, so you can open that inside of Thunderbird, and then this is the other way here, doing the command line with, which is what they have here. So the manual way uses command line tools such as cat, grep, base64, and sed. Analyze the contents manually and build the attachment by decoding the string located at the bottom of the line or of the file. So that's one way of doing it. An alternative, an easier way to do this is double click on the EML file to open it via Thunderbird. The attachment can be saved and extracted accordingly. So that's the way we're going to do it. Once the payload from the encrypted archive is extracted, use link parse to extract the information inside the payload using this here. Okay, interesting. All right, so we got some questions here. Let's check them out. What is the email address used to send the phishing email? And we can see that here, agriffin at b supposed to be packaging.xyz. Well, it's already suspicious right there that it's misspelled. All right, so we're going to grab that copy email address, plug it in here. What is the email address of the victim? We can see that here, julianne.westcott at hotmail.com. So we're going to copy that, paste it in. Next one, it says, what is the name of the third-party mail relay service used by the attacker based on DKIM signature and list undescribed headers? Okay, so let's see here. Well, we can already see something down there, that little link, but so B, whatever that is, that misspelled one, supposed to be packaging. So that looks like it's going to be it. I mean, we can also check the headers to make sure, but okay, let's just go ahead and do that. We're going to check the headers. Okay, let me look around here real quick. View source should be it here. Yeah. All right, so while this is open, you can hit Control F to search around in here. So let's type in DKIM. Okay, DKIM dash signature, and there we go. All right, so it looks like it's coming from this. here. So I'm wondering if this is the part they're looking for. No. So let's look around a little bit more. Okay, there's another one here. There we go. Right there. This looks like it is it here. Reply to list unsubscribe. Yeah. So I believe this is it here. Ooh, if I can copy this correctly. So this D equals elastismail.com or whatever that is. Delete that out of there. What is the name of the file inside the encrypted attachment? All right, so we need to unzip that file. So we're going to go to it inside of here, Thunderbird, and we're going to click Save As, and let's just save it to the desktop here. Okay, so we should be good there. Let's do ls, and you can use unzip here, and then the name of the file. All right, and we already have the password that was inside the email. So that's another sign here that's suspicious. You have the password in the same email as the attachment there. So we're gonna paste that in there, unzip it. All right, there we go. There's the link file there. For some reason, the this one was not working. I'm not sure what's going on there. It kept giving me an error message, but now we have that extracted and we are ready to go. So I'm just going to move this to here, make it easier. All right, so now we have the file. Now we need to grab the file name, it looks like here. So let's go to rename, and we can just grab it this way. Oops, if I can hit the correct one and accidentally deleted it, looks like. So let's do this. There we go. All right, now let's try this again. Rename, and I want to hit Control C. Done. What is the password of the encrypted attachment? Well, we know that's going to be that invoice 123 or whatever it was. Yeah, 2023. Next one, based on the result of the link parse tool, what is the encrypted payload found in the command line arguments field? So we need to use that tool up here, link parse, and then the name of it. Okay, so it seems pretty straightforward. Once again, let's go back to our trusty terminal here, and then we will do link parse, and then the name of the invoice file. I forgot that I moved it, so we need to go back to artifacts, clear all this out, and then let's try this again. So link parse, and then the name of that file. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of stuff here. Okay, so let's take a look here, and we need to grab what's the payload found in the command line arguments field. Okay, so let's see here if we can find that real quick. Arguments. So we have to sift through here and try to find that information. Or I wonder if we could just grep this and see. So let's do this. We will run that tool here. Let's clear this out, and we will run that tool. We'll pipe this into grep. Okay, and then we need to find this here. Let's see, command line arguments. Let's see if this is easier to read. Really? Okay. Well then, let's do this. We will send this to this file here. All right, so now we have that up and running. So let's go and open that up real quick here and take a look around. All right, so let's see if we can find anything. Okay, so let's try command. There we go. Command line. Oh, no wonder, because it's not all. there's only one cap in there, which is the C. That's probably why I didn't find anything. All right, so there's the encoded payload, it looks like here. And let's go ahead and grab that out of here, like so. So we'll just slide this all the way over. It looks like bit space 64 encoded. So let's plug this in here. Now, another thing you can do is you can use one of those email header analysis tools to analyze the email headers. And okay, maybe there's something else that we need to do for this, but let's go back here. And like an example would be if we go in to here and we go and grab those email headers again. So we'll go to view source, we'll hit Control A, okay, Control C, and then we can go to one of those websites like this here, message header analyzer, analyze headers, and then it'll break it down for you here, right? It's a lot cleaner than trying to manually look at headers and whatnot. So a lot cleaner. There's another one here by MX Toolbox, right? It gives you pretty much the same information. So it breaks it down, all that good stuff there. Anyway, so let's get back here to task number 3. And we're going to talk about endpoint security. Are you sure that's an invoice? Based on the initial findings, we discovered how the malicious attachment compromised Julianne's workstation. A PowerShell command was executed. Decoding the PowerShell or the payload reveals the starting point of endpoint activities. Investigation guide. With the following discoveries, we should now proceed with analyzing the PowerShell logs to uncover the potential impact of the attack. Using the previous findings, we can start our analysis by searching the execution of the initial payload in the PowerShell logs. Since the given data is JSON, we can parse it using CLI using the JQ command. Note that some logs are redundant and do not contain any critical information, hence can be ignored. Let me backtrack real quick. I want to see if this can actually be decoded. I'm not sure if we're supposed to do that or not, but let's check ChatGPT here, and let's do this. We'll do new chat. Alright, we'll say decode this. Let's see if it's able to do that. I'm just curious to see if it can do it. Okay, so I'm not sure what I did wrong inside of CyberChef here, but it looks like it was able to decode it, and we can see all kinds of information there. Okay, sweet. So we have that ready to go. Anyway, let's continue on here, and we're going to talk about this JQ stuff, it looks like. And let's see, investigation guide. Following discoveries, we should now proceed with analyze PowerShell logs. Okay, I think we already read through that here. If not, go ahead and do that yourself. JQ cheat sheet. JQ is a lightweight and flexible command line JSON processor. This tool can be used in conjunction with other text-based or text processing commands. You may use the following table as a guide in parsing the logs in this task. Note you must be familiar with existing fields in a single log. Okay, parse all JSON into beautified output. You can do that here with cat PowerShell.json. Pipe that into JQ. Print all values from a specific field without printing the field. Print all values from a specific field. Print values from multiple fields, and sort logs based on their timestamp. Sort logs based on their timestamp and print multiple field values. You may continue learning this tool via its documentation. All right, so we have some questions here. Try to go through this yourself, then come back to the video, and then we'll step through it together. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. All right, let's take a look at these questions. What are the domains used by the attacker for file hosting? And C2, provide the domains in alphabetical order. There's an example there. Well, for this one, we kind of know what the domain is going to be just based off of previous information. But in order to find this one, we can use that JQ tool. I also used ChatGPT to help me out with this, building out the particular command. So if I flip over here, I said I need to find domains, put them into alphabetical order, gave it an example of what they had in there, and then it gave me some results here, and then also explains everything as so. So this one finds domains only, sorts them alphabetically here, breaks it down there, and then if I scroll down even more, it gives you some more examples. There's a one-liner here, example output, what you'd get. Okay, I need this to find any domain, and I believe there was this one that I used here, so I'm going to copy that, paste it as such, hit enter. Now it brings back everything in here that could be possibly linked to this particular command here. Like I said, it breaks it out like so. If you need examples, it'll tell you that information here. Now obviously you might have some issues and stuff. All these aren't like domains or anything like that, right? But you do get a good breakdown of what's in here. Some interesting things to look at here, and you can see this B packaging.xyz, right? So this is the first one here, the CDN one, and then there's another one here that says files, and they also have another one here called line as well, but that one didn't appear to fit inside of here, so I went with those two. And you can also double check inside of the logs as well. So if you want to go ahead and just copy that, and you can just I have it already pulled up here. So if I wanted to do that, sift through all these logs like so, you can Control F and then paste this in there if it lets me. Okay, well, it didn't paste correctly, so we'll just do this here as an example. Alright, so paste that in there, and I copied all of them. Alright, so here's one example here, right? In order to get this, you'll have to do a search. You'll have to reference this script block text inside of your commands, right, as you're going through this entire thing here, just as a FYI here. But anyway, so I was able to find these two that fit this criteria, as you can see here, and you can double check by looking through the logs manually if you want to. But we're going to continue on to the next one, and it says, what is the name of the enumeration tool downloaded by the attacker? Well, that's going to be seatbelt. All right. Also, another thing to take note of, you have these invoke web requests, so you can probably search on things related to that as well, and you can see this is referenced inside of that. All right. But anyway, so seatbelt is going to be what we're looking for for that one. Here's the files as well. So let's get back on track here. And we saw seatbelt mentioned inside of here in our first little command or whatever here. And let's see if I could find it here. Yeah, seatbelt.xe. So you can take a look off of this. You can pivot off this information and look through the logs, do some more grepping on that, and see if anything of interest comes back. Okay. And you can also use these hints here if you get stuck. So it mistakenly executed the exact tool name. All right. Next one, what is the file accessed by the attacker? Using the downloaded sq3.xe binary, provide the full path. Now for this one, it was a little bit tricky because you had to rebuild this path here, and it was kind of a pain. A little bit of pain, not too much, right? So to get this one, of course, I threw it into ChatGPT to help out here. And let's see if I could go back and find here. Yeah, there we go. Find anything related to sq3.xe. So it gives me some more examples here of what to look for. Returns matching strings in context, best for investigations and reporting. There's an example output here. If you're searching for raw logs, etc., etc. Some more additional information there. Right, so anyway, I have the one here. I believe it's this one. It's the one I used. No, that's the other one. This is the one I need here. This one, I did reference the hint because it does tell you to not that one, it tells you to reference the cd command for that one. Okay, so that's what I did. I threw that in there inside of my command here. So it's going to sort it again. It's going to reference this script block text, sort it by unique, pipe that into grep, and it's going to be looking for this xq3 and then also cd. Hit enter. So it's going to find information related to those. And if you go through and backtrack through this information, you'll be able to find out where this is. So we see this big little script block text here, right? And you see app data, local, yada, yada, yada mentioned. So you're going to grab that here. Now you also have to rebuild it, like I said, right, through the CD stuff. So you'll have to rebuild it. Once you've done that, you can see that the first items are going to be the C colon and then users and then j.wescott and then the rest there, app data, local, etc., etc. And we can see that here, right? It's downloaded that file, SQ3, and then CD into j.wescott, users, public, music, etc., blah, 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 blah. So that's how you rebuild it and get that answer there. Next one, what is the software that uses the Q3 for this one? You can find it again inside the script block text. This one's a little bit tricky as well, but it references this sq3.xe, right? And then inside of here, you're going to see this Microsoft sticky notes referenced. So that's what you're going to go with here. This did take a little bit of time for me to find out what this was. And then you can also see plum.SQLite reference as well and some other things that could be of interest in like a real investigation. Okay, so that's how you get that one. What is the name of the exfiltrated file? So inside the, I'm not sure if it was in this one or maybe the next one I had, right? So it may be in the next one here. And we are going to just do this. This one here was able to just, display everything from script block text, I believe. So if you want to just get like the rest of these questions here, this is something that you could probably use. There's probably a better way to do this, but anyway. So it's going to pull back the information for script block text, right? Kind of nice and neat for you. But anyway, when you find the exfiltrated file, so as we're sifting through these logs here and tracing our steps of what the attacker did, you'll come across that particular file in question here. So if I could just find it. And let's see. There's a lot of stuff to sift through here, but one of the things to take note as well as you're sifting through here, you can see like the data exfiltration and whatnot. That looks like data exfiltration. Okay, so here it is up here, script block text, and use this file equals this protected data.kdbx file. So that's our answer there. And if you do some Googling, you'll come across that this is a key pass extension. And it says, what's the encoding used for data exfiltration? Now, this was another tricky one for me, but inside of the script block text here, you can see hex is referenced, right? And that's going to be what you're looking for. Okay, so hex is our answer there. Like I said, if you're not used to looking around for this type of stuff here, it can be a little bit tricky. So hex is mentioned there, and it's also mentioned again here, right? As it's going out there, and you can see NSLOOKUP mentioned as well. That brings us to the next one here. What's the tool used for exfiltration? Well, NSLOOKUP, right? So what that looks like here. Now, if you're not sure what any of this means as you're going through this, you can plug this into ChatGPT or something like that to give you an analysis and some more additional details on that. You could probably put this whole log file inside of like an AI tool to sift through, right? But obviously, in the real world, that's going to depend on your standard operating procedures, policies, and whatnot, because obviously you don't just want to throw a bunch of log stuff inside of these AI tools out there that anyone can access and whatnot. Maybe you have your own little AI that's private sourced or whatever that you can use to sift through this, or some other fancy AI tool that can sift through this. There's a bunch of them out there, but that's just an example, right? But do what works for you. There's going to be different tools and technologies that you can use and different methods to get these particular answers, right? As you can see, I use various different ones, mainly this JQ tool, but I also used other tools like, just open it up inside of a text editor. Now, as you're going through, you can send all this information. So you can collect all this information. You can send this to a file, right? So we'll just say sorted.txt. or whatever. You can call it whatever you want. So the point is, you can save it to a file so that you can reference later. And you can also grep through this file as well, so you don't have to keep repeating the same commands and whatnot to display to the screen inside of the terminal there. But just a little interesting tidbit. I also did that for the PowerShell logs, you can see there, to make things greppable and easy to sift through. You can just use Control F to find things. But anyway, let's continue on. Task number 4, and it says network traffic analysis. They got us, called the bank immediately. Based on the PowerShell logs investigation, we have seen the full impact of the attack. The threat actor was able to read and execute or exfiltrate 2 potentially sensitive files. The domains and ports used for the network activity were discovered, including the tool used by the threat actor for exfiltration investigation guide. Finally, we can complete the investigation by understanding the network traffic caused by the attack. Utilize the domains and ports discovered from the previous task. All commands executed by the attacker and all commands outputs were logged and stored in the packet capture. Okay. Follow the streams of the notable commands discovered from PowerShell logs. Based on the PowerShell logs, we can retrieve the contents of the exfiltrated data by understanding how it was encoded and extracted. So once again, pause the video and try to answer these yourself, then come back to the video and we'll step through it together. Remember, there's hints here if you get stuck, okay? All right, let's take a look at the first part of these questions here. What software is used by the attacker to host its presumed file/payload server? So going off the information that we already know about those malicious domains, you'll have to do some digging around on those. The one in particular is going to be this files.bpackaging.xyz. So once you pull that up inside of the Wireshark here, you'll get some results back, and just right click on one of them and then follow the HTTP screen. And inside of here, you'll see that Python is referenced here, and that's going to be the tool that they're using, right? So this is the simple HTTP server for Python that you can use to spin up something real quick. So that's going to be our answer there. What HTTP method is used by the C2 for the output of the commands executed by the attacker? Well, I pretty much guessed on this. I said post. I mean, you're posting commands to it. But if you wanted to sift through here and find it manually, you can do that as well. So we already know that there's other C2 domains listed as well. So as you're sifting through, and I was looking at the domain itself, so these are the results for that. You can see other requests energy. You have get, post, request, get, another post, bunch of other post requests. So you can take a look at this post request, see if there's anything of interest there. So you go ahead and just follow it and see what's going on here. You can see some stuff here that's like, obviously it's not in human readable format there, but it's referencing Windows PowerShell, and we know that appears to be what was being used in this particular attack there. So anyway, that's the one I went with. It looks like they were using post requests to send those commands out and whatnot there. What is the protocol used during the exfiltration activity? Well, we know that they used NSLOOKUP to exfiltrate data, and also you can go back and reference what we already done as well with that JQ tool. So I reran it again, as you can see there, and I just was looking at this bpackaging.xyz to pull up some information that I can easily reference. But anyway, inside of here, you can see what was downloaded, the tool and everything like that, right? But anyway, as we previously saw in the other task here, that NSLOOKUP was used to exfiltrate tools. And if you don't know anything about NSLOOKUP, you can just use a Google search on it. You can use, ChatGPT or whatever, right? And you can see that, oh, this is the next one I was working on, but you can see that, what protocol does NSLOOKUP use? It uses DNS. So there you go. Anyone that knows anything about NSLOOKUP, you can use that to look up information about, well, DNS records and whatnot, right? So that's what I went with there. And let's see here. The next one, I need to figure out what is the password of the exfiltrated file. So that's going to be that key pass file we saw earlier, right, in this other task here. This one here, I'm sure. Then I guess inside that file, we get the last answer here for that question here. What is the credit card number stored inside the exfiltrated file? So I'm going to try to figure this out and see. I believe you have to use T-Shark, maybe. I'm not sure, but we'll figure something out here. Because if you go inside here and try to look up DNS stuff, there's going to be a ton of information that comes back here, right? Even if you reference certain things inside of here, you probably have a ton of information to look through. And T-Shark is it's basically like the command line version of Wireshark here, except you can do a lot more with it. As with pretty much any command line tool, it's going to be more powerful than the GUI version, most of the time, if not all the time. So let me do some messing around with T-Shark, see if I can figure out something. All right, for the last two items here, It took a lot of Googling and research. I even tried using AI to help out here. But anyway, I came across a solution that we can use here. So what is the password of the exfiltrated file? Well, first things first, they want us to look up some information about this SQ3. So I put that in there as a filter here for Wireshark. Now for this one, look at this last packet here. We'll go to follow, and then we'll go to like follow HTTP stream. And you can see that it references the information that we need here to pivot off of, which is this sq3.exe stuff here. And it did pwd, some other things. Okay, so knowing that they did this, we could look at the next packet that will give us some more additional information that we need to get this password here. So we can see that we're at 749, so just change this to 750 here. Okay, so it'll pull up that information, and we can take a look at it. I think it's this one here. So inside of here, we can see this hex stuff here. So just go ahead and just copy this out, and then we'll throw that into CyberChef to decode it. So we'll copy that. All right, as you can see, I've already done it, but we'll just hit that, and then we'll put it in there again. You can see master passwords referenced here. And inside of here, all this other junk, this is going to be the password right here, this little area there. And if you want to double check it, hit Control F, V, there we go. So now that we have the password, we need to convert the payload file into a file for KeyPass to open it up. Then we're going to use that password to open it up and see what's inside there. This took the most time to do. All right, like I said, I do a lot of Googling and AI stuff, right? And I came across a solution that can be used here. But this is what I came across here. They're using T-Shark, and they're reading that packet capture, and they're looking at that dot 113. They're filtering off of that, and then also they're looking at the fields inside that DNS search there. Inside the DNS query, they're piping that into grep, and then inside of there, they're going to be looking at that domain in question, and they're filtering out some additional items here. So they're going to get rid of like new lines and whatnot, and they're also going to get rid of a bunch of other noise that's in there. So if you look at those DNS queries, there's going to be a lot of them in there, as we saw before. So if we do like DNS here, you can see there's a lot of information to sift through. And what this is going to do is just going to go through and filter out all the information. I also try to put it inside of ChatGPT to break it down even more. And it tried to give me something else that's better, but I tried using their corrected version and it did not work. So I went back to the one I found online here. But anyway, it gives you a breakdown of everything here. So that's the one we're going to go with here. Like I said, I tried to use this additional one that they gave me and it did not work, but this is the one that's going to work here. So after it goes through and filters out everything from these DNS queries, right, gets rid of the new lines and spaces and all the extra junk you don't need, it's going to pipe it into this XXD, right, which is going to convert that into this .kdbx file here. So if you hit enter, it'll save it as such here. And then now we can just go in and just open this up inside of KeyPass here. So open that up. There we go. And we're going to grab this password and plug it in as our answer for the last one. So inside of here, it says, what is the credit card number stored inside of the exfiltrated card? So I guess I'll take a look around inside of here and see if we can find that. What's this advanced? There we go, account number. So that's going to be our answer here for this one. So we're going to grab that here. But this took a lot of work to get these last items here. You have to go through, not only you have to go through and sift through this DNS logs, but the DNS entries, but inside DNS entries you have to go in and you have to filter out everything that's not relevant. So once you do that, you'll come across the DNS queries that you need to sift through. And then once you do that, you'll need to filter out some additional things inside the DNS fields, and then you'll have to pipe that into grep and do some other additional things here. So you're going to filter off everything referencing this domain here. So after that, with all your filtering inside of the PCAP, you're going to convert that into an actual file. So you're going to extract that payload information and put that into a file that you can actually use and open up there. But if you're just looking at, like, we'll just delete this other stuff here, just show an example here with just T-Shark. So you'll see that there's extra junk in here that's got to get filtered out. If you don't filter the stuff out, then you won't be able to get the information you need to convert that into the actual file to open up inside of KeePass there. As you can see, there's other stuff after that, and this is what I did not want. I only wanted this first part here, right? That's the information I need in order to reconstruct that particular file in question, and that's what that gave me. So also, you can ask these tools to explain everything as well. So if I go back to my original thing here and say, explain this or something, let's see if it actually does it. Okay. And let's see what it says. So that's why I like these AI tools. It'll give you the breakdown, everything as it's going through and giving you some results. And then you can also use it if you found something online. It's like, hey, what's this do? Well, okay, well, let's throw it into AI and see what it does. Right, so it gives you the breakdown, everything you need to know here. Okay. And that is pretty much it for this one. Like I said, it took a lot of time and it is late. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning here. But yeah, so I used that solution to find this last part of information and we are done. Okay, so hopefully y'all had enjoyed this video and got some good information out of it. And if you want to help support the channel, you can like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know the time I upload to the channel. Have a nice day. I will see you later, and check the description box for any additional details that may be there. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are in TryHackMe. This is the SOC Level 1 Legacy Learning Path. This is the SOC Level 1 Capstone Challenges module, and this is the Boogeyman 2 room. The Boogeyman is back. Are you still afraid of the Boogeyman? Well, we're going to find out and see what the Boogeyman is cooking with this time around. Task number 1, after having a severe attack from the Boogeyman, Quick Logistics LLC improved its security defenses. However, the Boogeyman returns with new and improved tactics, techniques, and procedures, or TTPs for short. In this room, you will be tasked to analyze the tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs, of the threat group named Boogeyman. Prerequisites. So as you're going along in this path, you should have completed these rooms, right? If not, I recommend checking out my channel on these rooms or going and taking a look at these rooms yourself. And you can also cross-reference these rooms as we're going along in this challenge room. I'll probably do the same as well, especially with phishing analysis tools and volatility here. Investigation platform. Before we proceed, deploy the attached machine, start machine button, which I've already done. So just click that and then start it up, and it'll show up in split view here, as we can see. Artifacts. For the investigation, you will be provided with the following artifacts. Copy of the phishing email. Okay, and here's the artifacts folder here. Memory dump of the victim's workstation, neat, so we're probably going to use volatility for that. You may find these files in the home Ubuntu desktop artifacts, which is this here, and hopefully this isn't going slow today. There we go. So we got both of them here. Tools. The provided VM contains the following tools at your disposal. So we have Volatility, which is an open source framework for extracting digital artifacts from volatile memory or RAM samples. And there's usage of it, right? So vol-f, then the memory dump file, and then the plugin that you're going to be using. And then to list all plugins, you can use this here, this vol-f, and then -h for that. Volatility may take a few minutes to parse the memory dump and run the plugin. For plugin reference, check the volatility 3 documentation. So there's something else to reference here. OLE VBA tool for analyzing and extracting VBA macros from Microsoft Office documents. This tool is also part of the OLE tools suite. So we have OLE VBA for that, and there's usage for that suite. So we're done. I'm ready for round 2 with the Boogeyman suite. And also, if you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 2, Spear Phishing Human Resources. The Boogeyman is back. Maxine, a human resource specialist working for Quick Logistics LLC, received an application from one of the open positions in the company. Unbeknownst to her, the attached resume was malicious and compromised her workstation. So we have a user in HR department that received a maldoc or malicious document here. And here's a screenshot of what that looks like. And I'm assuming that we're going to need to open that up inside of here. So as you see, I'm already in the terminal and I have that ready to go in case we need to use that. I'm sure we'll have to use that for the volatility stuff, but this looks like the email here, so I'm going to double click that and let it load up for a little bit here, and then we'll take a look at it here shortly. The security team was able to flag some suspicious command executed on the workstation of Maxine, which prompted the investigation. Given this, you are tasked to analyze and assess the impact of the compromise. So let's take a look at this here, and I'm just going to let's just hit cancel and see if anything comes up. I thought this was going to open up in like Thunderbird or something like that. Let's see here. Is Thunderbird even on here? No. Okay, so we'll just do it like this. And we'll just do next. Next. Okay. Let's see if this opens up now. All right. Not sure what's going on there, but let's take a look at this email. Dear Maxine, I'm writing to express my interest in the junior IT analyst at Quick Logistics LLC. As a recent graduate in computer science, I'm excited to apply the skills and knowledge I have gained to a professional setting. During my studies, I gained experience in various programming languages, including Java, Python, and C++. I also completed courses in computer networking and database management, which have given me a solid foundation in IT fundamentals. In addition to my technical skills, I have also honed my problem-solving abilities, which is very important, and attention to detail through various projects and internships. I am confident that these skills, along with my passion for technology, make me a strong candidate for this position. I have attached my resume to this email for your review. Thank you for considering my application. I look forward to the opportunity to discuss my qualifications further. Sincerely, Wesley Taylor. So it seems like a pretty, straightforward and clean email. I'm not seeing like any grammatical errors or anything like that. All right, let's see here if this actually opened up finally. Nothing. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, apparently there isn't an email client that I can find on this machine, at least. I mean, this should have had at least a Thunderbird on here, because that's what we've been using in like the other rooms and the training and whatnot. But anyway, let's take a look here. As we open it up, you can see in this first section here, this import data, Berkeley mailbox, blah, blah, blah. You can see information that we could probably use. So we got the from, to, subject, date, and this is the email we just read from that screenshot. Here's the looks like the attachment here. So let's go ahead and take a look at these questions. What email was used to send the phishing email? So let's take a look at the sender here. So it's from this Wesley or Wes Taylor 23 at outlook.com. So we're going to hit Control C here and plug that in as our answer for that one. All right. What is the name? What's the email of the victim employee? Okay, so that's going to be our 2, which is going to be this maxine.beck at yada.com. Plug that in as our answer here. What is the name of the attached malicious document? And we saw that down here. So it's going to be this resume underscore Wesley Taylor .doc. So let's go ahead and grab that here with Control C and then Control V to paste that information as our answer. Next one here. What is the MD5 hash of the malicious attachment? So what we can do here is go down to this little arrow here, save as, and then we'll save it in that desktop, and then we'll just leave it in the same artifacts folder here. Okay, and then we'll go over to our terminal, pull this up. Okay, so we have everything we need. There it is. And then we'll do MD5, this MD5 sum, and we'll run it against this resume file here. There we go. So now we have this. Now what you can do with this, you can plug this into a tool like VirusTotal or something like that to do some additional information gathering in OSINT to see if there's any hits on that, right? Let's see here. I wonder if this has, yeah, this doesn't even have internet connection. I don't think so. So anyway, let's go on to the next one here. What is the URL, or what URL is used to download this stage 2 payload based on the documents macro? So documents macro, that means we'll have to use that that tool, the OLE tool. So let's go back up here, and here it is, and we'll take a look at that information here. So we'll do this, and we'll run it against that same document. Okay. All right, there's a lot of information here to sift through. Well, there's a URL right here automatically, so right off the bat we can see that it's going to be downloading something from this website here, the C2 here, not that one, the one down here, this get request to get that file, pull down this update.png, which is probably, you know, more than likely going to be some kind of malicious thing here. And then you got this update.js stuff, it's executing wscript, right? So yeah, all kinds of phishing things going on here, and explain some things down here, looks like, right? Yeah, okay, nice. Well, let's go ahead and you can also, what I like to do as well, if you want to help keep track of things, you can put this inside of like a text document. So let's see what this looks like here. We'll do VBA or something, or macro. Yeah, we'll do macros dot text. Okay, and then now if we go to this folder here, we'll have this, and now we have everything nice and neat, right? So in case, that's just another thing you can do as you're following along here. So now we can go in and like copy, paste things easily and whatnot if we need to. But anyway, so let's go back here and take a look at that question again. So we need to find the URL, stage 2 payload used to, or based on the macro. So we already found that. That's going to be that PNG most likely here where it says URL. So we're going to grab all of this, and it's got this extra junk in here. Let's see here. Okay, this one doesn't have all the extra stuff, so we're going to grab it here. Hit Control C, and then plug that in as our answer. Now also, to piggyback off of this, you can pivot into your SIM tools and whatnot and try to see if there has been any other hits for this activity, also for the hash in this Word document. I mean, even the email itself, you go in, you can do another additional searches on these IOCs that you come across to see if any other users may have received it and whatnot. Then you can go do some email retraction to try to eliminate those emails out of those end user boxes, mailboxes, before they actually click on anything malicious. But let's continue on here. What is the name of the process that executed the newly downloaded stage 2 payload? And that was that wscript, right? So if we go ahead and take a look here again, let's see. So there's the get request, and then so I'm gonna try this here, wscript.xe. If that's not it, then let's see here. It's got to be one of these up here, but I think it's this one. So there we go there. Because yeah, this I mean the stage 2 is going to be executed by wscript, and it's going to be executing this additional JavaScript file here, it looks like. So let's continue on. What is the full file path of the malicious stage 2 payload? Okay, and we can see that here. We're going to go ahead and grab that. Pretty straightforward so far. Okay, what is the PID, or process ID, of the process that executed the stage 2 payload? All right, so we have to look for a PID. That means we're going to have to use probably volatility to do that. So if we go back up here and take a look at this, we'll have to look at some modules or plugins and see which one we need to run against that. It's probably going to be something like, I think it's PS-Tree or something. Let's see here. So there's our list here. This is from the volatility room, and listing processes and connections. So there's different ones you can use. You got PS list, PS scan, some other ones. Let's try this PS tree. All right, so this looks like it's pretty straightforward here, and I'm just going to copy and paste this over. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos. You can see here over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. All right, I'm not sure what happened. I had to open up a new terminal to get this working properly. So anyway, I ran volatility against the .raw file, and I'm using windows.pstree for that plugin. Okay, and as you can see here, it gives us a plethora of information here. We got PIDs, and we have parent process IDs, right, which is PPID. And now we need to go and locate that information here. So if we go back and reference our questions here, what is the PID of the process that executed stage 2 payload, and then what's the parent PID of the process that executed the stage 2 payload? So we need to find those here, and we can see image file name here, these .xe's. So we have to scroll down a little bit here to try to find out what we're looking for. Okay, so let's see if we can find those items inside of here. Oh, no, WScript was in use as well. Okay, here we go. Outlook.exe, we have WinWord. We know it's a Windows or a Microsoft Office document, right? Word document. So WinWord.exe. Then there's the WScript here, and there's updater as well. So looks like we'll need to maybe reference these two right here. Let's see here. So WScript, that's the first one, I believe. So, and we need to get the PID of that. We're gonna go ahead and grab this here. Okay. Actually, let's see here. Make sure, yeah, WScript. So this should be it here. What's the parent process ID? So that should be the next one to it here, right? Because it's going to be referencing WinWord.exe because it's a Office Word doc, right? So there we go for that one. Next one here. What URL is used to download the malicious binary executed by the stage 2 payload? So for this one, I'm just going to reference my notes for the rest of these here. Okay, so we'll have to use, we can use strings, and we can use, of course, volatility. So this first one here, we're going to use strings against the .raw file, and we're going to pipe that into grep, and we're going to search on that URL or domain, right? So part of that here, this Boogeyman is back.ll, and let's see our results here. Let's get all this out of the way. Let's see here. There we go. So now it's pulling back all that information. So right off the bat, we're seeing some URLs here that we need to take notice of. Okay, and we need to get the full one. So more than likely, it's going to be this here. So we're going to grab this top one here. I don't think it matters. I think these are all the same, but we're going to grab that. So this, you can see this URL is referenced multiple times inside of here. So we have update.exe, then update.png as well. So let's make sure we get the correct one in here. All right, so it should be this one here. And what is the PID of the malicious process used to establish the C2 connection? So reference my notes here. And once again, we use volatility running against that .raw file. And then this time I'm going to use this netscan plugin to get this particular one here. All right, so we're going to crawl this out. And once again, if you want information on what these can do, you can use the module. So it looks like that didn't even work. Maybe it's just netscan. There we go. Okay, so you can reference, Google. You can use one of these fancy AI chatbots, or you can just go to the volatility room here to check out what they have listed inside of here for these different plugins and such. So let's see what this is. Hopefully this doesn't take forever to run. So scanning finished. There we go. Okay, so now we have some stuff coming back here, and right off the bat we see updater.exe, some other things, and we need to find out the process ID for the established C2 connection. What we're looking for here is going to be this updater.exe, and we can see the PID here, the 6216. So just double check if you want to scroll up here and see. we're talking about here, listening on. So that's going to be the process ID for that one here. So actually here's the PID column here, but it's kind of offset or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. But anyway, so updater.exe is what we're looking for here. And 6216 is going to be what we're looking for. So I'm going to grab that, plug it in. All right. And now we can go and take a look at the rest of the ones here. So what is the full file path of the malicious process used to establish the C2 connection? So let's go ahead and see. We can use this windows.dll list, and we're going to be looking at the process ID of 6216 to get this one here. So let's go ahead and do that. Clear this out. And didn't copy over correctly for some reason. So let's try this again. All right. Now, once again, you can reference the volatility room if you want more information about what these do. So this is the information about this DLL list plugin here, and this is why I'm using it for this particular area. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. But we can see updater.exe listed quite a few times here, and I'm gonna see if we can format this even better. So we just need to grab the full file path of it, right? So let's see here if this can be, let's try to send this to a text file or something. So let's do this here. We'll do a dll.txt right there and see if that looks any better. All right, so it's done, and let's go and navigate to it. See if this looks any better. Okay, looks a lot better. So we need to grab that full file path here. So there's this is interesting here. Task updated.exe. So this may be referencing like a scheduled task or something. Let's see if we could find that information here. All right, so if we scroll all the way up here, we can see that this updated.exe is the first one mentioned here. We can see the PID over here on the side, 6216. So if you want to reference that again for the last question there. All right, so once again, volatility against .raw file, and then we're using this DLL list module. There's the PID that we're looking at, which is 6216, of course, right? Because we're pivoting off of this prior information that we gathered. But anyway, so we need to find this one out here, which is what is the full path of the malicious process used to establish C2 connection. And the first one up here is this one that's of interest here, this Windows task updated.exe, right? And this is the one that we need to grab out of here. So after that gets fired off, and then it starts doing all kinds of crazy things later on, as so it seems. So anyway, we'll plug this in as our answer. And also, we answered one of these other ones earlier. I think it was maybe this one. What is the IP address and port of the C2 connection initiated by the malicious binary? Okay, so we can do that with that net scan again. So if we go ahead and grab that here. And also, if the screen was jacked up, you can go ahead and just hit this here to make this bigger, and then it will fix that format issue that we saw earlier. So we can run this again and try to track back that information that's in here. We're looking for that update or updater file, and we did see a IP address in here earlier that was probably of interest. So there we go here. We see updater mentioned quite a few times here, and for that we can see this IP address here that's mentioned. Okay, so I'm gonna grab that here, and then also as we continue to go down here, see that it has closed out this connection here at the end, it looks like. Let's see here. But yeah, I'm gonna go with this one here, this IP address for that C2 information. Okay, well, I don't want to pull all that stuff out. And we'll get the port information like this. And then we'll get rid of it, get rid of this other stuff here. What is the full file path of the malicious email attachment based on the memory dump? So for this one, once again, we can use strings on this. We can also use volatility. So we if you're going to use volatility, we can use this file scan, pipe that into grep, and then search off the email. So the resume underscore Wesley Taylor or some piece of it. So the next one is just searching on resume. So as long as you're searching on the email itself, you should be fine. So we're going to try this way first to see what comes back, and then we'll just get this other one ready to go as well. So once this finishes running, we should be good to go here. So it takes a good minute to sift through all that stuff here, but we should be able to find this out. The next one's going to talk about scheduled task, looks like. Let's flip back over, and it's still running. All right, there we go. All right, so this looks like what we're looking for here. Maxine.beck, app data, local, yada, yada, yada. All right, so I'm going to grab that. And I wonder if we need this whole thing here or not. Let's see here. See if we need the whole thing. Okay, sweet. They went ahead and put C in there. But if we wanted to do the other method, which was strings, it should be able to get us the same answer here. Okay, and it's pulling back all kinds of stuff. So you can see the difference. It's pulling back all kinds of stuff. So we are going to do this. Okay, and we're going to search on the same thing here. Copy that and see if this makes a difference. All right, now let's see. This is much better. But once again, you can send this information into a text file to reference if you don't want to show this on the screen. And also another interesting thing here is that you can pipe this into other things too, like pipe this into more, right? So let's see what this does. But anyway, so we get the same information back, right? So we're gonna just go ahead and grab that, and it should be good to go there. But yeah, so if you don't want to display everything into this entire screen there, you can do less on it, you can do more. So I wonder if you could do it like this, maybe more at the beginning. No, okay. So yeah, at the end, definitely, like we had before. But I don't know what happened. We can also do less on it. See if that comes up with anything. All right. Anyway, so let's get out of this here. And I'm just trying to show you all some other interesting things you can do with the command line here, if this works. My syntax might be jacked up somewhere, but yeah, so you get the gist of it. You can use these other commands and stuff. See how it says more there, and then you can hit like spacebar on it to go through it. You can also hit enter as well. But yeah, so we got our answer there. And last one here, it says the attacker implement a scheduled task right after establishing the C2 callback. What is the full command used by the attacker to maintain persistence access? So to get that one, you can use strings again. You can use volatility. So string or volatility, you can use this .mem, and then use this dump --dump on it, and then PID 6216. Okay, that's what happened here. This is going to create a dump file, and then from that dump file, we could do some interesting things with that, it looks like. So let's clear all this stuff out once again, and then paste this in. Get this ready to go. Hopefully this doesn't take forever. So now that's running. Let's see what it comes back as. And also I'm gonna get this other one ready to go here, because we'll have to do something else for this dump file if I'm not mistaken. All right, let's do ls or la, whatever you want to use there, and there's the dump file right there. So let's clear this out, and let's try the other method here with the strings and see if anything useful comes back. Did not copy. Okay. There we go. Okay. There's quite a few things that reference scheduled task in here. And we need to find the full command for this. Okay. Wow, there's a lot to sift through here. But, I mean, it looks like they're using this PowerShell here. So I'm wondering if we need to get all put all this in there. Let me go ahead and check, and I'm gonna check that dump file as well. All right, so something to take notice of here is that, remember, we created this dump file. I tried using this grep on it as well, but it didn't pull back the full information that we needed, as it seems. But anyway, we already ran strings on this earlier, so there's our original syntax here. And what you need in here is going to be the entire command. So I'm wondering if it's going to be from this maybe semicolon all the way to this create. Let's try this and see if that fits inside of here. All right, there we go. So now we're done with that room. Boogeyman number 2, and I believe there's another Boogeyman part 3, which we'll get to eventually. So be sure to check my channel for information related to that Boogeyman room. Also, be sure to check out Boogeyman number 1 and there's other rooms as well on my channel. So one thing else to take note of here is that I'll have this link in the description box, but here's a little guide that can probably assist you on your learning journey. Complete guide on how to identify a suspicious process. Goes through all kinds of things here. So a little quick guide here you could take in reference for your career path, training, what have you. But anyway, we are done. And if you want to help support the channel, if you're enjoying the content, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Thank you all for your continued support. Have a nice day, and I will see you in the next one. So stay tuned in these cyber trenches. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec back with another video for you guys. Today's video, we are in TryHackMe. This is the SOC Level 1 Legacy Learning Path. This is the SOC Level 1 Capstone Challenges module. This is the Boogeyman 3 room. The Boogeyman emerges from the darkness again. So let's see what they're cooking with down below. Introduction. Due to the previous attacks of Boogeyman, Quick Logistics LLC hired a managed security service provider to handle its security operations center. Little did they know, the Boogeyman was still lurking and waiting for the right moment to return. In this room, you will be tasked to analyze the new tactics, techniques, and procedures (TTPs) of the threat group named Boogeyman. Prerequisites. This room may require the combined knowledge gained from the SOC Level 1 path. We recommend going through the following rooms for attempting this challenge. So you have Sysmon, Itsy Bitsy, investigating with Elk, Boogeyman 1, and Boogeyman 2. So if you've been following my channel and following my videos, then you should go back and go through and watch these videos so that you can be informed for this room. Investigation platform. Before we proceed, deploy the attached machine by clicking the Start Machine button in the upper right hand corner of the task, which I've already done. The provided virtual machine runs an elastic stack Elk, which contains the logs that will be used throughout this room. Once the machine is up, access Kibana console via attack box or VPN using the credentials below. So we need to start the attack box apparently, and let's go ahead and do that. It says takes 3 to 5 minutes to initialize for the Kibana instance. Let's end the Boogeyman incident. Okay, so we are going to be ready to go. I'm just waiting for this attack box to fire up. But before we get into it, if you want to help support the channel, be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Without further delay, let's go ahead and dive into it. Task 2, the chaos inside, lurking in the dark. Without tripping any security defenses of Quick Logistics LLC, the Boogeyman was able to compromise one of the employees and stayed in the dark. Waiting for the right moment to continue the attack, using this initial email access, the threat actors attempted to expand the impact by targeting the CEO, Evan Hutchinson. So here's an email from them. Urgent financial matter regarding immediate attention. This is from Ali Sierra. Okay, dear Evan, we require your urgent attention for the review of an important financial document. Your insights are crucial to proceed effectively. Could you please allocate a brief window for this review? Your prompt response is appreciated. Best regards. And it looks like there may be some other details here. Let's see. This email appeared questionable, but Evan still opened the attachment despite this skepticism. After opening the attached document and seeing that nothing happened, Evan reported the phishing email to the security team. Right, nothing happened except in the background, right? Initial investigation. Upon receiving the phishing email report, the security team investigated the workstation of the CEO. During this activity, the team discovered the email attachment in the downloads folder of the victim, and there we have it here, project financial summary Q3 PDF. Okay, so let's see if this is fired up already. Sweet. And it's been a while since I've messed around with this, so I may be stumbling around for a little bit here. Let's try this. Okay, so I will have to figure out how to get back into the search function because I've not used Elk in quite a bit, but we'll get it figured out here. It's under security. Let's see that real quick. There's something in here. All right, so anyway, let's go back over here. So looks like we're going to be looking for this file in question. There's this project financial summary underscore Q3 PDF. In addition, the security team also observed a file inside the ISO payload as shown below. All right, it's HTML application. That's what it says the type is. Lastly, it was presumed by the security team that the incident occurred between August 29th and August 30th, 2023. So there's our time frame there. Given the initial findings, you are tasked to analyze and assess the impact of the compromise. So we have a boatload of questions that need to be answered here, and we are going to jump into that here shortly. Okay, so we have our time frame, which is August 29th to August 30th, 2023. First question is, what is the PID or process ID of the process that executed the initial stage 1 payload? All right, so you can see here, I've already found this particular one, but let's go back over here. So we are in Elastic. Now to get to this area, be sure to click this hamburger icon, click Discover. Once Discover loads up, as we're in now, you can go to the state area here, just click in there, and then go to absolute, and then modify your time to make sure that it's in the correct time frame. As you can see there, once that's done, just hit refresh or go in here and hit enter. Okay, and this is what I'm searching on, the project financial summary underscore Q3.pdf. So that was the PDF in the email, right? And then it had also mentioned a HTML file. So anyway, we're gonna hit refresh, and it's gonna run, do its thing here. Or you just go in here and hit enter. Either way, you'll get some results back here. Anyway, so on the left side here, this little menu area here, for the filters, you can go in and search for whatever filters that you think are relevant. So make sure to choose the ones that you think that will help you out with your investigation. I have 9 selected here, and we can see them here: process.command line, .name, parent command line, file path, etc., etc. Okay, so these are the ones I have. You can select whichever ones will work for you and get the answer. Okay, anyway, so let's take a look here. Have our time here. Make sure you can rearrange the time as well to fit whatever one you want to go to. So I can see that we're going from the earliest time, right? So let's see here, 23:51, and then process.command line. We see some stuff going on here. So we have our PDF mentioned there, right? So it's doing some other things here according to this information. And if we scroll over here, we can see that this process ID is going to be 6392. So this is the one that's in question here that starts off everything, right? So they're looking for that initial one. So we'll plug that in as our answer. Next one here is, if I didn't copy it correctly, okay, maybe it's the comma that's throwing it off. Okay, the stage 1 payload attempted to implant a file to another location. What is the full command line value of the execution here? So now we need to do some additional things here. Let's see if we can pivot off anything inside of here. All right, so let's go ahead and continue down here if there's anything of interest in the command line stuff. Nothing here, so let's adjust our query to see if anything changes for this. Okay, Did I misspell something here? Let's see. Let's go back to this, and we'll just copy it out of here. So I'm going to try to search for more things in regards to this particular file here, and it's not letting me delete stuff. There we go. Let's see if this does anything. There we go. All right, now we have a bunch of stuff coming back for this. We have 4 hits for this particular file here. I'm not sure what was going on. Maybe I had something misspelled in there. But anyway, now that we are searching on that particular file in question, we can see everything that's related to it. So it looks like Xcopy is the next step here. So they're copying their payload to somewhere else for what it seems to be here. Review.dat. Review.dat is mentioned a couple times here. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. And that appears to be what we're looking for this one. So it's okay. So they need the full command line. All right. It's going to be this Xcopy one. So let's go ahead and copy everything inside of here. That's what Xcopy does. If you do a Google search on it, it'll let you, copy stuff to another location. I mean, it's in the name itself. The implanted file was eventually used and executed by the stage 1 payload. What is the full command line value of this execution here? All right. So now we'll probably just keep scrolling down there. We might need to pivot off of that review.bat. Let's grab that real quick. And you can see it's doing something with the DLL. It's down here, DLL register server. That's interesting there. All right, so I think that's all we have for this information here. Let's see, there's doing some run DLL stuff here, and let's see if we can just make this bigger. All right, that didn't do what I needed it to do, so let's get rid of that. Actually, there's that drop down here that should give us a bigger view. Okay, there we go. Here, this is what I was looking for. So now it's a little bit better to sift through this information. All right, and let's see here. It said something about a DLL register server, so I'm wondering if we can pivot off that information or not. And let's see here. Let me reference our notes here again. And let me do some digging around and see. Okay, I think that has to be that register server one that we had just saw there. There's another scheduled task thing too that looks interesting there. So I'm going to minimize this just to make our events easier to get to. So let's see if I can do that here. And I'll just click that. All right. Now let's see if we can find that server one here. Okay, so we have it right there. And I'm going to go ahead and grab that and plug that in as our answer. That's the next one that appears to show up here. And then it looks like they're doing some kind of scheduled task and run DLL 32. So that'll probably be the next bit of information that we can pivot off of. Stage 1 payload established a persistence mechanism. What is the name of the scheduled task created by the malicious script? Okay, so well, they gave us pretty much a hint there, I guess. And let's see if we can find the name of this scheduled task here. Okay, we'll probably have to sift through some of this information on the side. Process command line, maybe one of these should probably have it in there. And let me just click that drop down here. Okay, I guess that's everything. Let's see, register scheduled task review -I. So it's got to be in here somewhere. One of these names has to be it here. And I guess you can plug this into like some kind of AI tool or whatever and try to see if that'll come back as the name. It did say register scheduled task. I wonder if it's this review here, maybe. But that's it. I don't really do scheduled tasks via like the command line or anything like that. But let's see if that's what they're looking for here. Let's just go ahead and double check real quick. All right, so let's try that and see if that's what we're looking for. Once again, if it's not, we could try to plug it into AI and see if it can interpret that for us. But this is probably it, just based off of what the answer looked like. Okay, sweet. So review is the name of the scheduled. scheduled task created by the malicious script. Next one, the execution of the implanted file inside the machine was initiated, has initiated a potential C2 connection. What is the IP and port? And they want it in this IP port format here. So we're going to be looking for some network connections. Okay, so we'll have to look around inside of here and see what we can find out. There's quite a few questions here. All right, so let's see. All right, let me do some digging around and see what I can find out. There's probably going to be like an event ID we can look at. It did say something about Sysmon, so I'm wondering if maybe we could utilize that. Hey everybody, this is WireDogSec. Just a quick reminder to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Once you hit the notification bell, be sure to set to all notifications so you know every time I post to the channel, upload a video, all that good stuff. Let's continue to grow our glorious community here. We are in the cyber trenches. We're not just reporting on it. Be sure to check out my channel as well. I have tons of videos that you can see here, over 300 videos ready for you to check out and learn something from. Be sure to review my posts. I'm frequently posting new things to my channel here, including jobs and everything related to that. Also, I have tons of playlists here that you can review, make it more convenient for you. Anyway, happy defending, happy hacking, enjoy the video. All right, now here's my query here, event.provider, Microsoft Windows Sysmon, and event code 3. So once that's plugged in, I also went ahead and grabbed some more interesting fields here. So now this is my updated ones. I added a few more, so host IP, source port, source IP, destination IP, destination port. If you don't see these fields in here, you can try just removing all of this query stuff here and then just doing a generic search for everything and then trying to build out your fields there. But anyway, so select the fields that are of interest, and we see that we're looking at this ID of 3. So if we scroll over here, we already know that they're using that run DLL to fire off some stuff here. But anyway, as you go through and sift through here, you can see that this .151 IP is mentioned several times, and also port 80 is mentioned as well. And that is what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with this particular IP address and this port. Now, I would do some initial OSINT to see what this comes back as, and if there's been any hits in like VirusTotal or abuseipdb.com, anything like that, that could also help us out in our investigation here. But as we're going through here and looking at the destination IP and destination port information, right? So there's our destination IP here. And if you click on it, you can see other stuff coming in here. But we can see this one comes up quite a bit, right? So I'm going to grab that, and then I'm going to grab port 80 as well. So the next one here is the attacker has discovered the current process or current access is a local administrator. What is the name of the process used by the attacker to execute a USC bypass? You can use this hint here as well. It says you have to do some Googling about USC bypass techniques, trail events, etc., etc. Now, for both of these, I did use ChatGPT to assist in my investigation here. The first one here says I am using ElkStack for my SIM. I need a query to find destination port and IP address of C2 connection. I have access to Sysmon and PowerShell logs. All right, it gives you some information. Below here, where to look at, it says when log B was mentioned. It gets down to the actual query information. I did use some of this here. I tried using this one down here, but this kept giving me error messages and whatnot. So I just went with what was up here. I just grabbed like this initial part here, and then that was it for this one. There's some other helpful information that you can use here to try to build out some queries or look for things of interest in your investigation. So I'm going to scroll down some more here. It talks about PowerShell information and whatnot. Next one here was basically I just plugged that in, that question we had, and it had brought up this fraudhelper.exe. So maybe that's the one we can try to find inside of here. Let's see here. Probably just look up this fraudhelper.exe since it keeps appearing inside of here, and let's see if we can get lucky here. Hopefully this doesn't mess up on me. I know their cloud provider was having some issues or something earlier today, so we are going to get rid of all this, plug this in. Oh, well, it didn't copy correctly, so let's try that again. Okay, now there we go. Okay, hit enter, and let's see if anything comes back for this. Okay, we have 3 hits so far. Let's scroll over here. Okay, file helper.exe, and it's doing some other stuff here, some funky PowerShell stuff. It looks like right there. All right, so let me hit this drop down and take a look at that information real quick. I wonder if we could just make this a little bit bigger here. I'm not sure if we can expand it or not. Okay, whatever. So we'll just scroll down here and take a look here. All right, here's the command line information. You can see it's in all kinds of stuff, it looks like. Okay, so let's go with that FOD helper, and we could probably pivot off some more information around this timeline here at 2354. So let's see if this is the one we're looking for here. It did mention that USC bypass technique, so let's do that as our answer. And once again, it doesn't copy correctly. All right, let's see if this works. Awesome. Having a high privileged machine access to, or the attacker attempted to dump the credentials inside the machine. What is the GitHub link used by attacker to download a tool for credential dumping? All right, so I'm gonna assume they're gonna use like something like Mimikatz or something like that to dump these creds. That's a well-known tool out there that can do that, right? So let's see if we can get lucky once again inside of here. You can also, if we want to double check this FOD helper, we could probably pivot off the other information we had earlier. Remember we had review in there, so let's do review. And there's 2 of them. It was what was it? I think it was a DAT file or something. Let's try this. Okay, yeah, yeah. So we have xcopy stuff going on here. Then there's the run DLL stuff running as well. There's the PowerShell running. Okay, there it is again. For the information pivot offline, it's going to be that review.dat. So if we keep scrolling down, so I'm wondering if it'll eventually show up in there somewhere. So I'm gonna hit Control F, and I'm wondering if it's okay. Let's do this FOD. There we go. Okay, awesome. So yeah, if we pivot off this review.bat file here, you can get some more details because it starts doing like who am I stuff, right? So initial reconnaissance, they're looking at groups, trying to see who's in there, right? And then it starts talking about this FOD helper information. Okay, so yeah, that's definitely got to be it there. The next one here, we had to look for this tool that did to dump creds. So I'm wondering if we can just pivot off well-known tools out there. I'm gonna try maybe Mimikatz and see if we can maybe get lucky on it. If not, we'll have to sift through the information there, or maybe try to find an event ID or something that's linked to credential dumping, perhaps. And let's go ahead and try to pivot off of Mimikatz. All right, so I'm just going to type in Mimikatz. Let's get this here. And let's see if we hit pay dirt. Enter. Okay, well, that's not good. There's quite a few items here that come back. A lot of items, actually. Here's the PowerShell stuff for it here, it looks like. And the URL's got to be in here somewhere. So let's hit this drop down and take a look at this PowerShell stuff here. So there's a lot of encoding stuff. So it looks like. Let's hit this drop down here. And it should have, I thought it had decoded this for us. If not, then we can just plug it into CyberChef and see what comes back. But let's go ahead and grab it here. And actually, I wonder if we can just throw this in the chat GPT or something. Let's do that. Now, obviously, in the real world, it'll depend on your standard operating procedures whether or not to throw this in inside of a tool like this, right? Otherwise, you can just use CyberChef, so you can do it the original way. see what ChatGPT says. There's some additional information here. It gives you a lot of information. Okay. Interesting. While that's running, let's see if we can find anything else in here. Whoa, what was that? Let me scroll back down. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. This is what I wanted here. This URL. I'm going to grab this and plug that in. Alright, now here is the complete URL. So everything was correct except the last part that had the dash out file and then the file name. So just remove that, and then you'll have the URL that we need. So just don't include this dash out file, maybe not zip, but we will use this information to pivot off of probably. So I'm gonna get that ready to go actually. So maybe dot zip. So we already know it's coming from GitHub, or the Mimikatz is going to be the tool in question that they're using. And also, since it did mention that it was a GitHub link, you could just pivot off of GitHub or something. So let's try that. If we would just want to take a look at items that came up about GitHub, let's just do GitHub and see if anything comes up. Nothing. Okay, well, let's try the stars. See what comes back. Here we go. So we have 149 hits for this. And if I scroll over to see if there's anything of interest here. Nothing, but you can take a look at these fields once again, and let's see, process command line, process name, PowerShell stuff, file path, host name. So yeah, basically you just click around here and see if there's anything that comes up that you could possibly get a quick hit on. But if not, you'll probably just have to scroll down on it honestly and see. There we go. See, we have more information here that's being used. PowerShell Mafia, PowerSploit stuff. Okay, so that could be some more items that we can pivot off of there. But you guys are getting the gist of it, all right? Anyway, so we already found that one, and the next one we need to get this one here. Dumping creds, use credentials to access another machine. What is the username and hash of the new credential path? So we're going to pivot off of that file name here and see if we're getting hits. We got 72 hits, it looks like. So we'll have to sift around and see what we can find out here. All right, so it's supposed to be some kind of hash or something like that, and username. Output file, there it is there. .zip, and looks like they're unpacking it, unzipping it, right? So we can see there. So we'll continue to scroll down here, and let's see here if it actually fires off anything. Either that, or we'll have to, looks like they're targeting a DC, or we'll have to just pivot off of this information and see what comes back. But it's doing some stuff here, a lot of PowerShell stuff it looks like. So let me look around once again and see if I can find this one. Since we already know they're using Mimikatz, we can pivot off that information. So I plugged in mimikatz.exe, and if we take a look down at the process.command line, we could see some additional details here, and this one seems pretty interesting here. This Alan.Smith one. So if we take a look at it, let's move this over here, scroll down a little bit more, and trying to find where that particular entry is. There it is. Just scroll past it. We can take a look at this here, this process command line. So it looks like they're targeting this particular user, this IT admin, and then there's the NTLM hash for it, and they're firing off PowerShell. So they're opening up a PowerShell session using this IT admin credentials and this hash. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and just grab the hash, and we know the user is going to be IT admin. Okay. Using the new credentials, the attacker attempted to enumerate accessible file shares. What is the name of the file accessed by the attacker from a remote share? So once again, I'm wondering if we can just pivot off of this information here that we just gathered about this IT admin, or if we can just pivot off of this Mimikatz one. So let's minimize this here, and we can scroll down a little bit more, see if there's any other important events that may be useful. So let's minimize that and take a look. So look at this next one here. Quick logistics, NTLM, blah, blah, blah. So let's continue to scroll down. There's another one here, Mimikatz privilege debug. All right. And that's of interest as well. Let's see, PowerShell.exe. So maybe we're getting closer here. Let's keep scrolling down. And let's see here. So, all right, so this one looks like they are using this administrator account, from what I could tell. All right, so once again, let me take a look around and see if I could find this. It's probably going to be some PowerShell stuff that we need to be looking for. Okay, I had to restart both VMs, so the attack box and then also this Elastic box or whatever. Anyway, so I'm back to where I was earlier, and this is my query here. So I'm looking at the host name and then PowerShell.exe, and then also looking for share just as a shot in the dark. And remember, we saw something about this power view earlier, so I think this is it here, this invoke share finder. That sounds like this could be of use, but we need to find out what the file was, right? Yeah, so we need the actual file, or yeah, the file name is accessed by the attacker from a remote share. So I think we're getting closer here. We got this invoke share finder thing. So I'm wondering if we can just use this information to pivot off of or something. We can also try, I guess, since we're looking for a file, let's just try this here, see if anything comes back, maybe. So, okay, we have 200 hits. I'm not sure if we're getting colder or not, but now we're getting some more PS1 scripts, but those appear to be benign. So we'll have to just look around this activity and see if there's any more of those .ps1 files that come up here. So we have some more zips here, some more PowerShell activity. There's the invoke share finder again. There's some more stuff here. So I mean, I guess it could be in this encoded base64 stuff here, but okay, there's something else down here. We're getting a little bit closer. IT files. Okay, there's another one here. IT automation. PS1. It comes up quite a bit. And there's some other ones. Invoke command, credential, script block, who am I? Alright, so let's try that one and see if that's what they are looking for here. So I'm just go back up here and grab this one here, this IT automation.ps1. I also got rid of, since these columns got reset, so be sure to select the pertinent fields. Okay, let's go ahead and plug this in, and there we go. Sweet. Now I would actually go in and grab this file off the machine and then take a look at it and see what all it's doing to gather some more IOCs possibly. But let's continue on. After getting the contents of the remote file, the attacker used the new credentials to move laterally. What is the new set of credentials discovered by the attacker? And we may have just stumbled across that earlier. We saw something in there. Credential, who am I? So we'll have to do some more digging and see what we can find. Oh, there was something here. It looks like a password to me. Let's try that. Alan.Smith here. And we saw this mentioned earlier, this username. Let's try this here. And we need to grab this here, the password. So, okay, they want it like this. Actually, let's see what this looks like. Interesting. Okay, so they went in some weird format like that. I'm assuming it's this here, this whole thing. Let's go ahead and grab that. Okay, and then we'll put the password in after this colon and see if they like this as our answer here. All right, sweet. What is the host name of the attacker's target machine for its lateral movement attempt? And let's see if we can find that out. We could take a look at some of these fields here, and let's try destination. Let's try host. There's host name. I'm surprised I don't have like a target host or something. Let's try target. All right, whatever. So we'll have to just look in the logs here and see what it's referencing here. Let's see, computer name. This looks like it's here. This 1327. So we're gonna grab that. And I'm wondering what's in this base 64 here. We'll probably have to encode it here shortly. Use the malicious command executed by the attacker from the first machine to move laterally. What is the parent process name of the malicious command executed on the second compromised machine? So this time we're looking for the parent process name. And let's see if we can find that. I wonder if we have to pivot off of this onto that other machine there, or if it's in this base 64 encoded stuff here. So there's another one here. Some other stuff going on. Alright, so let me do some looking around and see if I can find that one. And for that, it says the attacker then dumped the hashes in the second machine. What is the username and the hash of the newly dumped credentials? After getting access to the domain controller, the attacker attempted to dump the hashes via DCSync. Okay, so we'll do these two last. Let's go ahead and try to find these two. Let's take a look here. This is my query here, so we're pivoting off of the other compromised workstation, which is the 1327. But of course, we're going to be looking at Sysmon logs, and then the event code is going to be 1. If you don't know what that is, just go and use AI, or you can use just Google. Right, so I said, what is the Sysmon event ID for process creation? And it told me event ID 1. Also, there's a big chunk of base 64 in there, and I told it to decode it, and it gave me back some interesting information here. Okay, and then explains everything else as well. So be sure to make use of that. And if you don't want to use the AI, you can just go and use CyberChef here. So from base 64. Decode text to make sure it's set to this here, and we can see all that information down here that you can go in and analyze yourself if you choose to do that. But let's go back over here. Okay, so now that I have identified this funky looking suspicious PowerShell base 64 encoded stuff here, and then afterwards you can see it going and doing some Mimikatz things as well, some more PowerShell items as well. So we are going to grab this as our answer here for the parent process. I went ahead and added this field, so let's go back up here. This is the parent process name for that. All right, so hopefully I didn't lose my spot here, but anyway, we're going to grab that as our answer and plug it in. As you can see, I had tried something else there when I was initially doing my investigation, but obviously it wasn't the correct answer. Anyway, the attacker then dumped the hashes in the second machine. What is the username and hash of the newly dumped credentials? All right, so my guess is probably going to be like some administrator account. It might be the local administrator account, but we'll have to go through and try to find that out. So it's doing some other things as well. It seems like it's trying to go to this or execute this ranzamboogie.exe file. I'm not sure if that's something we're going to need later on for this, but what is the link used by the attacker to download the ransomware binary? That's probably what that is. I bet that's what that is. Let me go ahead and grab that actually and plug it in as our answer. That way we don't forget. We already know that it's going to be deploying some kind of ransomware based off that question, right? All right, so yeah. Let's go back. We're going to backtrack a little bit here and see it's executing that file, right? The malicious file in question there. And this is what you do in the real world as well. You'll go back and try to backtrack and look at information around this time, a little bit before, a little bit after, so you can actually zoom in. I think the standard's like 5 plus and minus 5 minutes or so, but you know, do what works for you. it will probably depend on your organization's standard operating procedures and such. That's just kind of what I do when I'm investigating particular events and whatnot. So we're going to go back and scroll down here. There's some more invoke commands here, invoke script block stuff here going on. Let's see. Okay, there's our original item here, and we need to figure out that the hashes get dumped and these creds for it, and then we're gonna look at this DCSync attack. So we're probably going to look at Mimikatz for this. So let's see if we can just delete all this here, and we'll just type in Mimikatz and see what comes back here. And I need to get rid of that so that we have a clear screen here. All right, so let's try this again and see what comes back. 18 hits. This looks like a lot easier to sift through here. So let's take a look. We have administrator, and it looks like that is what they're using here. So I'm going to grab this right off the bat. So we got pretty lucky. Let's do this little drop down thingy here and look at the full output as soon as we locate it. There we go. So administrator, there's the domain, and they're using this NTLM hash. So we're going to grab the administrator account here. Okay, and then we'll go and grab the NTLM hash as we did before. Control C. That should be it. Okay. After getting access to the domain controller, the attacker attempted to dump the hashes. Okay, so we're looking for a DCSync attack information, and then this is what account did the attacker dump. So we're looking for another account as well as that activity for the DCSync. So let's see if we can backtrack a little bit here. We already know this account's compromised, Alan.Smith here. So we'll have to look for some possible information around this time. And I wonder if maybe we can get a quick win over here if we could try to look at usernames, related user, user ID, username. Okay. Alan Smith is the only one that shows up. All right, so once again, let me take a look around here and find that. Now we need to find the name of the domain controller since that's what it's going to be targeting. So if we look at host name here, we can see this DC01 mentioned, and I'm going to hit this plus sign to add it to our little query here and see what comes back. If anything, we can just remove the workstation piece here since we'll just be looking at this particular domain controller looks like. All right, to get this answer. Let's see if we could find that real quick. Well, we already found this one. So if we scroll back up a little bit, maybe we can go and find the other answer for this. Right, so this is supposed to be targeting another account. And let's try this. Nothing for that. Let's try maybe passwords. Let's see here. So we'll get rid of this and let's try this. Let's see if anything shows up here. So we got 11 hits for this one. And there we go. There's the second account. Looks like that was targeted right there. So we're going to grab that. And I think we saw this earlier in the video, maybe briefly, but we are done with that. And also you can go ahead and take a look at and see if what else happened there. Like I would pivot off of this account. So if I had captured that in the real world, I would try to figure out what else happened with this account. Like what else did they do here? Okay, and take a look at that activity. See if anything else malicious had occurred on the machine. But this was quite the trip going through this particular room here. I mean, we had to go through quite a bit, look at different areas and such. So a lot of Sysmon logs, a lot of rearranging of those different fields to look at. So you really have to, I guess, play around with, with any tool out there, but especially these sim tools to try to get the hang of these things. But we stumbled our way through these and got these particular answers here. So I'm gonna plug this in as our last one and hopefully wrap up the video. Let's see here. But yeah, okay, so we're done with that. Awesome. Thank you all for taking the time to watch my video. Hopefully you found this video of value. If you did, please note that in the comment section of the video. What did you find most valuable? Have you done this room before? Do you have any other useful tips? Do you have any useful queries that can make it go a lot faster than how I did it? That's for sure. But also, if you want to help support the channel, you can be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know every time I upload to the channel. Be sure to check the description box of the channel for additional details, additional resources that you can use to help you in your learning journey, in your career, all that good stuff. And be sure to check out the playlist as well as the related video at the end of this video. Have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next one.